We did it.
We're all tired. It's a tired show for tired people on the Tired Network. No, this is Phoenix Dawn
It's like the
Command.
most upsetting newscast.
More like sleeping through, am I right?
And now to the
Wait, that's not a
exhausted
thing.
weather. It's shitty out today.
Man.
Have you seen it? No.
Everything's wrong.
Yeah.
Everything sucks.
This is Saving Throw Show. We're playing Phoenix Dawn Command. This is another exciting two-person intimate adventure.
Sorry. Max somewhere's like,
Yeah. A lot of you have different ships for this show. Mac has one specific ship, and that ship is sailing today. All right, so
wow.
I'm Sax Carr. I am your game master called a Marshal in this system. And then with me today are, well, I'll let you introduce yourselves and your characters. Go ahead. So starting with you, Mr. Holmes.
Hello, I'm Michael Holmes. You might remember my work from Masks, a new generation, earlier today. I am in between things right now, and I'm looking forward to going home for a few days and seeing my parents.
Ooh, nice.
And I will be playing Ink, who is the Shrouded class in our wing of the Phoenixes. He was formerly a ninja librarian, and now, you know what? He's kind of a big question mark.
A ninja barbarian?
Yeah.
Look forward for the Mysterians showing up later.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, by the way, it's one of these days. This is not my own work. This is collaborative.
Oh, no, that's...
Even if it was, man,
full
you
when
know?
Sax got here.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just one of those. Somebody bought me this. Like, I sent somebody with money to a liquor store, and they brought this back, and I was like, I didn't ask for a novelty size bottle.
But it's here, so...
I wasn't trying to use it in a
You
bit.
actually look spot on like a really cool hobbit right now.
Hey, Hobbit pride.
Yeah, I like to think I'm dwarven. I'm still size small, but I'm a lot stockier, and I'm easier to find a brunch place with. All right, so
And then across from me is the handsome...
I'm Joshua Dempster, architect by day, sleeper by night.
you lucky bastard.
It's my favorite Marvel horror comic from the 70s.
Sleeper by night.
By night.
It's the most, just like one page, then just 26 pages of a guy sleeping.
Yeah, it was the original social sleeping. It was, oh yeah, keep sleeping.
God, oh my. What happens on the next page?
In case you're wondering.
Oh yeah. Oh, he rolled over. This is great.
When there's only three of us here on the show, we have a lot of time to just get weird for the 35 minutes.
Weird.
Yeah, there's not a lot of like mechanics for the game to cover. We just spent 35 minutes exchanging odd stories.
Yeah.
It's true.
Talk about.
And I will be playing Atmos, a once famous phoenix, an elemental of great power, strength, and leadership abilities. But he got forgotten in time, and so now he's just another asshole in this wing.
Thanks, Caters.
Yeah, so we're gonna see if I can continue to forge a new legacy with my good friend Ink.
All right, so we're gonna. I'll do the sort of set piece building that we did for the last episode because this game takes place in like a sort of alternate dimension, and it's important to understand the context. So, in Phoenix Dawn Command, there is the Daylit world, which is our world, and that's the world in which these characters were originally mortal people who died, and then were essentially rescued by a magical, like a sort of global magical spell, which brought them back as phoenixes. Phoenixes get stronger every time they die. They die and they go into their crucible, which is sort of like a test, and then they learn from that test and they come back with new powers. They can do it 7 times. That's how phoenixes work. The crucibles are in the dusk, which is sort of like the Upside Down or the Feywild.
The Further, if you're
Yes.
into the Insidious series.
It is a sort of mirror of our universe, but in a strange color palette that exists simultaneously on top of our own universe. But also because the crucibles themselves exist sort of in a way outside of space and time, it is also larger and smaller simultaneously and goes off in different non-Euclidean dimensions. And
Bigger on the inside.
yes, H.P. Lovecraft would be super happy about the whole experience. Or hate it. I can't tell if he liked what he was writing or not. If he was like, goddamn witch house, or like, I don't know.
Just mad about it. Like, this is so horrifying.
I hate everybody. I hate myself.
So the Phoenixes entered into the Dusk world, into the Dusk, physically by going through a magical gate called Half's Bridge. And they entered the Dusk where they were able to sort of claim some territory for the Daylit world, and now they have broken through the barrier between the regular Dusk, the sort of copy of the world, and the Crucible system, which is sort of a magically created, big, bizarre, odd universe of all those Crucibles. Where there are about 100 Phoenixes at any given time, and so there's about 100 Crucibles. But as one Crucible might be 20 miles, one Crucible might be a room. What was your Crucible like?
There's a funny story that I'll get to once I'm done describing it. Basically, Ink's Crucible is the largest library in existence in that it has no end.
Michael, can you move your
No!
one side of your collar?
I thought I did. Hold on. Hold, please.
Not there. Sorry.
Are you, sir?
All
All right. How about that? Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, it's the largest library in existence in that it has no perceivable end, and it has the totality of knowledge in existence. And in theory, if you had enough time, you could learn everything. But Ink has not had enough time to learn everything, but he's learned a lot. Unfortunately, during the process of that, he's come across a bunch of knowledge that maybe he would have been better off not knowing. So his mission as a Phoenix has been a little tainted. Also, Map 510 has added a feature to the Masks a New Generation map, which is a library called Ink and Paper.
Oh, nice.
Which I was like, I don't get that reference. What's that a reference to? So he told me on the chat today that it was a reference to this, and I felt real dumb.
Yeah,
So yeah,
Awesome.
that was the appropriate response.
yeah,
Thank you, Matt 510.
yeah.
And thank you, Proud to be a Ravenclaw, who recently followed the channel.
That was last stream.
Oh, well, thank you, Proud to be a Ravenclaw, who followed the channel several hours ago, and now you're dead to us. Be current, Proud to be Ravenclaw. If it didn't happen a minute ago, it's not interesting anymore.
That's
All right.
totally Hufflepuff behavior.
And what was your Crucible like? We haven't really covered that.
Yeah,
you
Atmos
don't-
is Crucible. Well, I'm just making up on the fly.
Do it. Shoot from the hip.
Functionally, he was trapped in a large laboratory with many doors on the four walls, and each door required a different set of chemicals to be combined and refined, and he basically had to figure out how to break down the various doors until he found the right one out.
Nice.
And through that exploration and scientific investigation, he became much more in tune with the elements, fire and metals, and it all makes sense. That's how I got my crazy fire hair.
Yes.
That was just a really weird accident one day.
Yeah.
Like, oh,
Unrelated.
This turned out okay.
Crucible was just too many ducklings, and then I had weird fire hair. That's two examples of Crucibles, and you can imagine there's 98 more of those. So that's the Crucible system, and that is where they are, which is why this is a very strange, platform place. And then, as we learned last week, there's another level. Well, there's the darkness itself, which is essentially death, which is like the realm that things go to when they're finally destroyed, when they're not sort of rescued in the dusk. So a lot of things like the Fallen or whatever, which are like fairy creatures essentially in this world, or a version thereof. Like they don't. If they die on the mortal world, they go to the dusk, and then they come back, and so on and so forth. The Phoenixes do in their own way.
On the seventh death, we end up in
you go to the darkness, or you go to whatever's next, which is either the darkness or
According to Ink, there's nothing.
yes, or something better or whatever.
I like to think it's Cheers, but sure, yours works too. God.
There was a man named Norm.
Yeah.
You will know him on sight.
Hard cut to a bar full of people going Atmos.
I'm sorry, what drink did you like? Nah, I'm just funny.
Packard, everyone knows his name.
That's true. Yeah, that's why we know it's not true. But there's also a space underneath the Dusk world where, or at least underneath the Crucible system, which is sort of an area where the Crucibles are actually created and generated, which is a strange third version of Pyre, because there's Pyre where the Phoenixes are from, there's the Pyre, the Fated Pyre on the Dusk world, and then there's this other Pyre, which is generating like sort of the supercomputer of fire.
Like a proto-pyre?
Yeah,
Okay.
proto-Pyre. PP for short.
Let's not do that.
Yeah, we're not going to use that one.
All right, cool. I'm going to go ahead and take the note. Yeah, workshop. You guys, chat, let us know. What is a better name for that? I cannot get this frickin' Amazon Fire to loop a track. Try that. See if that works.
Are you talking to the fire?
Yeah, I'm talking to the
Okay.
Amazon Fire. which is very apropos of this game.
Yes.
That our music is our Plate Mail Games exciting game experience additional music is created by a fire.
Yeah.
So you two have been, when we last left the two of you and all the rest of the Phoenixes, we were going from Crucible to Crucible trying to recruit other Phoenixes who are currently in their Crucible to your cause to fight the Hectarch, which is the source of all the evil, which you know to be in the dusk, and you know to be an overwhelming force. So you wanted to basically take all, because basically if a Phoenix exists, they're also simultaneously in their Crucible, at least at one level, all at once. So there's theoretically 100 Phoenixes, if not more here. And you were going from Crucible to Crucible, and you found out, which we talked about last week, that like rank 1 Phoenixes simply do not have the capacity to understand what you were talking about or to leave their Crucible. They haven't really, I mean, rank 0 to 1, you know, like from mortal life to their first Phoenix birth, there's just no way to shake them into it. They can't get it, they can't leave it. 6s and 7s, like yourselves, can be taught what you've learned through heretic knowledge, how to transit from one Crucible to another, and they can go themselves to the meeting point. Everyone else you have to essentially walk out, because you can move them through and they can agree to it and they can sort of wrap their head around what's going on, but they can't they just don't have whatever magical spark is necessary to go from space to space. So, in your transit, you're both sort of like, you know, moving from like through Crucible to Crucible, Crucible to Crucible. And suddenly, you sort of pass through one Crucible, you know, as you like phase almost to the wall by sort of traveling at it at an obscure angle. But when you reach the next side of the Crucible, like, you don't gain any more tangibility. And as soon as you sort of momentum end, you start falling through the floor. You're separate at this point, but like this is happening to you simultaneously. And you fall through the floor of that Crucible, and then through like, you know, into another Crucible underneath it, and through that, until eventually you fall out, and you can see like the Crucibles all sort of existing as like separate floating islands above you as you're falling and falling and falling. And then eventually below you see like little pieces of Crucibles, like, or pieces of something, you know, literally like an island, you know, like a desert island with like a palm tree, and then like 2 or 3 small amounts of water, but the water's like pouring off into nothing, and that's sort of like floating around, and there'll be like, you know, a small amount of rocks, or like half a room, and like all that sort of moving around in space. And you both find yourself landing on like one of these small little islands, and they sort of stack up, and they're all over this place. So you land on one. We'll say this one is like, you know, it's part of a stable. So like there's a horse like set up in a stable, and there's like another stable bay that's empty, and there's another stable bay that's just half a stable bay, and there's like a small amount of rock and earth under it, and then everything's like falling out, and the horse is freaking out. And you land in a pond, but the pond, at the edges of the pond is like a small ring of earth, and the pond goes down a small amount, and then from the earth on there's just nothing, it's just empty space.
Atmos.
Ink, is that you?
Yes. Where?
I have a horse. I don't know if that'll be of any help.
Where are we?
You can make a observation spread.
Hey, I would like to do that.
And you would probably use. You can just
Arcane.
make a. Oh yeah, you can use arcane. You can try and.
Figure out where the hell we are.
I can do 10 easy, or I can bump it. Is there any benefit?
That's probably fine.
Okay, so there's 5, and then I get +5 for
I
observation.
think you might get plus another 5, didn't you? Get something else from like scouting talent. Or is that a different thing you get +5
It's
to?
a different thing I get +5 to. Well, technically it's the arcane, maybe?
Oh, you do have an arcane bump because you have a.
Yeah.
Then I got 19
All right.
with arcane and smartest person.
Oh, well, then I'm going to do 15.
I'm like, well, I know
Okay.
this horse, so I know where we are. I've seen this horse before.
The horse like turns and goes like, he's a few islands over. And, like goes back to being a horse.
Hello, Atmos. I haven't forgotten you.
I'll remember you always. And then it gallops off into the sunset. So, no, you're able to sort of like open yourself up to the energies of the world, and this whole place, if you want to imagine like the Matrix, is like all kinds of strange code, magical energies traveling in and out of itself. You can occasionally feel like you feel the magical energies that are holding these like pieces these like set pieces up that are flying around, but then you kind of lose track of it, and maybe that isn't what's happening. But you can definitely feel a phoenix energy, and so you can like eventually you look and find on the horizon maybe like a good half mile away from you, but you'd like there, that rock over there, or that what we know to be a pond, like that's where Ink is, or that's where a phoenix is, which you assume is him because you heard him. Meanwhile, you just sort of like looking around are eventually able to see like a small like match head of light, which is his hair.
Sure.
Hold on, let me turn my hair up for you.
So these spaces are moving, and you're sort of moving vaguely towards each other, but not directly. But you'll be close-ish in a few minutes.
Okay.
I should mention here that you can influence our games by donating either your XP, which you gain from watching the show, which you can do to give them redraws, which is useful for their skills, or to add environmental objects to this game, which are useful because they also give them redraws, but also additional benefits. Or you can make cash donations to activate flares. Flares are either positive combat abilities or negative social abilities. So those are always fun. If you're like the rest of our audience, you'll be saving them up, like with your finger on the send button until it seems the least convenient.
Yes.
And we wouldn't have you any other way.
Hard cut to last episode where where Varia and Eerie were both like stuck in an awkward situation, and the chat made them into a puppy and a boy simultaneously, so nothing got accomplished.
Yeah.
That one guy.
Yeah.
That sounds about right.
Okay, so what do you want to do?
So, it seems to me that what makes the most sense is to at least link up.
Yeah.
So when the islands pass.
Stay where you are. I feel like we're going to be close enough to each other soon that perhaps we can jump from one to the other.
I'll leave that to you.
Fair
You're
enough.
a little bit more nimble than I.
There's not a lot here anyway.
I've got a horse.
Great. That's super for you.
Today's horse is being played by Bryan Cranston.
Hey, Atmos. Good to see you again, my friend. I didn't expect it to be so soon.
I'm just picturing the horse from Bravest Warriors.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
It's
sure.
just like frozen.
See, and now I'm picturing the horse from Adventure Time that's on the beach ball, just James Baxter.
I was waiting.
Oh man, James Baxter's so cool.
I especially like when he says his name.
And I am imagining the horse from Ren and Stimpy.
Sure,
sir.
no sir, I can like it. Steven, which horse are you picturing?
I was actually thinking the rest.
Okay,
Okay.
good.
Thinking James Baxter.
Oh, so we got
Ink, you gotta check this horse out. He's doing the best impressions.
all of you fan artists. Horse who does impressions is your new task.
All right, so when the islands kind of come close enough together, I am going to just make sort of a blind leap.
Okay.
And you want me to
Make a grace spread.
All right, you got nothing but actually. There's 4.
Is that astonishing luck? Do you want to use that as well?
Yeah. So there's 9. Unfortunately, the only thing that I have in my hand that could be beneficial is Heart of the Wing. So if you want to throw in a spark, I can make that 12. See, I'm not lying.
All right. So
Yes.
you jump off. It's maybe a couple hundred feet, but you easily sort of make it. You couldn't see them because they were dark, but you realize as you're going, there's like even small like little chunks of land, sort of maybe floating in between these larger islands, and so you're able to sort of like
The asteroid field.
pull yourself up and over, and like you land and slip for a second, and the horse reaches out and like grabs you with its teeth and pulls you onto the island.
I told you it was cool.
Fascinating. I have no idea where we are. Nothing I've read has given me any indication what this could possibly be. I mean, it's like it's sort of like an reality. I mean, it's like the foundations of crucibles,
Well, it looks like the crucibles of Phoenix's past
or yet to be.
are yet to be. Either deteriorating or coming together.
Oh, follow.
I heard a Legend of Zelda noise. I fired roll 133. I don't
Thank
really
you for
talk like that.
following.
Thank you.
This is one of many shows we offer.
Yes. Arguably the best.
The others don't have as many horses.
That's
Nope.
true. Which is surprising for as many fantasy games as we have. But
true.
anyway,
Yeah, yeah.
I digress. No. Centaurs are not
They only
horses.
half count.
And if they voted in 2 states, forget about it. Or registered in 2 states. You know the joke I'm
Yeah,
making.
absentee centaur ballots. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's almost like there's a lattice work leading back up where we came from, but
Shouldn't we figure out what this is before we try to get back? This could be part of the larger mystery.
there's a thoughtful look that comes over his face, and he actually looks down to see what's below them.
It seems to be darkness all the way down. There are you can see like at the periphery of your vision what might be other islands such as this traveling down there, but it may be infinite void. And as you're looking down, you see 2 of this, like, these are not very far down. These are maybe, a couple hundred feet below you. But, like, 2 of the land masses sort of collide and, like, debris, like, pours off from them and and falls down into the void.
Let's not go down.
Okay, yeah, that doesn't look very promising.
I suppose we need to head back up.
How far is that? I mean, I can't jump hundreds of feet as you can. This might be a little bit more difficult.
You can with sparks. Like, you can juice yourself up if you
Okay.
need to, but...
Acrobatics isn't my forte, so if we could find any way to maybe get these things to coalesce, build our way out.
I'm going to be onto something there. If, theoretically, each Phoenix's crucible is dependent on their experiences, in a way, they craft their own crucibles through force of will and experience. Now, what if you or I, or together, we sort of focused our concentration on coalescing some of these land masses and see what happens?
Can't hurt. We can't go down.
Exactly.
And force of will is better than me trying to scrabble up that.
Be ashamed to lose you twice.
Well, I still get to die once. You don't have the same luxury.
Well, we're also can't be sure that the same rules apply to us wherever this is. Who's to say that maybe your flame would just sort of float off into the nothingness?
I said we can do force of will. You don't have to get
All right, all right. Devil's advocate, they say.
Sure.
Yes.
You've convinced me.
Okay.
So how do you want to accomplish this?
Are you saying how do we want to do this?
No, I
Okay.
can't legally anymore.
All right.
Sorry.
It's all right.
It's owned by a very good friend of mine
Yes.
who would wonder how I wanted to change the way he said things.
Yes. I mean, I feel like he'd set Grimclaw down because I feel like this is a moment where his rationality is taken over, and this is kind of classic Ink, where it's just like, I'm going to logic my way out of this. And he kind of gets into like a weird meditative position and just kind of really is staring out into the darkness at islands like on the horizon, trying to literally just will them closer to him. Kind of like envisioning what would happen if that happened.
All right.
Power of positive thinking.
Make a spread. I guess you can. This is probably also a gray spread, as that's the power of Phoenixes. You can add sparks to this, and it is an arcane spread, so you get the thing from your talent.
Okay, so
You can assist here.
there's
I'm
8
gonna burn 2 sparks to grab intellect back. Into
with
Okay.
the talent.
smartest person.
That's 13. 15? Is 15 good? Should I go more?
15 works.
Alright, there's 15.
All right. Do you want now? You can also assist. Do you want to make a another arcane spread?
Yeah. So that would be 17, smartest person in the room. Like, I can think harder than you can. So
You can think differently than I can.
So you both are able to sort of begin sort of exerting will, and you do feel like even the island you're on sort of move, and you can sort and like nearby objects, like sort of like you basically just sort of gravitize the whole system. So like there's, like land masses are moving towards you, and they're coming slow enough that even though there's like a thud as they come together, but very quickly, like as the debris from the thud happens, like the things coalesce, and if you will, like a very overworked storyteller. This is not some sort of like gag about me.
Meta narrative.
No, but like some very like someone somewhere or something like joins the story together. So like as the pond, for example, pulls back and hits the side of it, like part of the pond becomes like the watering hole of a horse. You know what I mean? Like it has like a rimmed stone wall where like a horse might be brought to water. And then like, as another piece connects in, like where the borders go, it's like someone's trying to sort of rationalize that by some strange means. I'm going to go and see what the donation was that we just got from Mr. Pope.
It's as if this story's trying to tell itself.
Indeed. Let's keep seeing where it goes.
I'm gonna try to tell it to wend its story upwards.
Good idea.
Come
Thinking
on.
of towers. Towers.
Yes.
Stairs.
Stairs.
Towers.
Oh.
No? Reach off, reach of us.
Ah, okay, cool. I'm assuming it's 3 each, or just 1 each?
Okay.
Did you get one? You got
Yep.
it.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
All right,
but-
so thank you, Mr. Pope, for that donation.
Monsieur Pep.
Do not be afraid to donate yourself. Wow, you threw me into that accent suddenly. And all of a sudden I'm here, yes.
I'm not even a little sorry.
I feel the need to rebuke these Englishmen from coming into the castle. Get more Coke to add for my novelty size, my drink me bottle of,
Now in hobbit size.
yep.
Is that a gallon of bourbon? Not quite.
I feel like a gallon of bourbon. Like those Hungry Man meals that are like a pound of food, where like they're all together sad, but also you feel like if you're in the right mood, like you just need something to be like gross.
Yeah, but also a pound of food's really not that much.
Yeah.
That's a lot. That's like a decent amount though for one human.
Well, I mean, I'm not saying all the time,
But if you can imagine like a passable bourbon, like not a
Yeah.
great bourbon, not a top shelf bourbon, but you just market it as a gallon of bourbon.
Like a gallon of
So just
wild
like-
turkey.
yeah. But it
"Ah."
just says in the label, a gallon of bourbon, and it was like from Gallon Bourbon Brewery or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's just for that kind of person who's in that real sad mood, where they're like, yeah, I'll take the gallon of bourbon.
See, at that point, I want it to
Yeah.
be in like a cask. Like it's got a little
Yeah.
baby keg, gallon-sized keg. of
Or could
bourbon.
you sell it in a milk gallon? Like, it's like milk gallons.
That'd be so upsetting.
It just says of bourbon. And you just think of the fraternity brother market right there. Think of how much money we would make
yeah, that's
in
huge.
Alpha Delta Chi houses all across this country.
It's easy to pour that gallon
Yeah,
of bourbon.
you get that sweet 3 olives
Your
vodka
gin.
and that
Your
gallon o' bourbon. And then you have to create a mascot named Gallon o' Bourbon. It's me, a gallon of bourbon.
Just a dancing
What,
keg. There's like
bourbon?
bourbon sloshing out of the top.
Yeah. Wait, bourbon is American, not Irish. Shut up, you! I'm Gallon of Bourbon. It's like,
Between me and God.
I'm doing a flawless southern dialect.
can't you just let a man live his life? Gallon of bourbon.
Because it's Tuesday, gallon of bourbon.
Yeah.
Fire Girl Red 33, it's not always like this.
Yeah, welcome.
It's often, but not always.
Brought to you by You're Not My Dad Bourbon. You're not my dad bourbon.
You're not my real dad.
Take your rules off me. You're not my dad bourbon.
Oy vey.
Oh man.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
More bourbon.
Yeah.
I don't know why we bothered to play role-playing games in this show. We should just get started and see where we're gonna go.
Yeah.
That's the brilliance of this game. All right, so you've sort of built maybe a football field's worth of material, and on it is a tower, which is helpful to some extent.
Andy.
It looks like sort of a guard tower or some other sort of out tower from a castle. But there isn't. You haven't really gained any height per se. You've definitely. I mean, that wasn't your intent. You just drew these things to you, and there's like there's like 3/4 now of a building, and there's a little more of like the horse pasture, and there's some, like the horse like gets out from the stall and like wanders off into like a field you've connected to it and eats grass, and there's the well, or there's a well / pond, but it all sort of still melts off the edges on some level.
This is maddening. We could be at this literally forever, and I don't know that we'd necessarily get where we need to go.
Do you think if we complete it to a certain extent, we could slip through
Possibly.
in the same way that we slipped from one crucible to another in the level above? I don't really have any ideas here. We're under the underthing.
I feel as if we're missing something very specific that we need to bring here.
A phoenix.
Or a flame.
Well, I've got fire. But how does that... We don't know how we ignite a flame for an individual crucible, or if that's something we can even do. We don't understand the inner workings of this place. Right now, we're just trying to think our way out. We can't fight our way out. It's just the horse.
The horse, I have no quarrel with the horse.
That's what I'm saying.
Hard cut to the horse, like.
A dramatic horse.
Good. So, meanwhile, your larger landmass, by the way, like you're now, it's moving. It's like everything else is here, and it's like blowing away smaller land masses that it's colliding with, sort of like a Star Destroyer to TIE fighters, and just like they're like exploding on the side of it, and most of it just sort of scatters into dust, which eventually falls off and heads down into the abyss. But some little pieces like sort of just like tumble onto the land and then like join into it, sort of as raw matter that builds into it.
There's a saying that goes, when you stare into the abyss, it also stares back into you. I'm not convinced we are alone here. Perhaps we should start some sort of civil discourse. Perhaps something or someone can explain to us where we are and how we can leave.
Okay, I follow, but when I searched, your flame was the only one I felt.
Perhaps it's not Phoenix.
Okay, so how do we entreaty whatever is down here? What is down here? There's nothing here. Sorry, horse.
Grassy. At that, there's like more land masses are sort of like bumping into yours, and then you feel like it's not in response to your statement, but you're starting to feel like there is some sort of like presence here, but it's below the landmass.
Below the landmass. I'm getting a sense of something, but it's underneath us.
How far?
All I noticed below the earth, we've been slowly building together. Do we have a way? I mean, I can maybe start to dig. We can look in the building, see if there's a way down. Otherwise, it's climbing around the side of this thing over that.
I like your building idea. I will say there's a basement on that building which just goes up to nothing. That's yeah.
All right, well, I'm gonna go investigate. Would you like to come with?
I hate to be left alone. Looks at the horse.
Grassy. That's my new gesture and phrase. Grass eat.
Grass eat. Grass eat.
So you
The best.
you like walk down a staircase in like the building to what would have been its root cellar or something, but instead it's just 6 feet of masonry that like sort of cuts off, and you can see the abyss below you. And down here, and this still, you can see the lower land masses like floating around. You realize that there's actually some sort of, for lack of a better term, natural phenomenon around here, which like there is a light from the world above that radiates down to the world below, which sort of hides from that light by slipping between landmass to landmass. And now that you've collected so many of them together, like you can notice that down, like you stick your face down to look down, and there's essentially like a whale made up of like raw material. Like it has the basic shape of a whale, but it's made up of barrels and rocks and things, and it's sort of like living under the shadow of your of this facility, of this giant island. And you can see like as another island passes close, like a second whale like sort of quickly, like as if burned by the light above it, like races out and gets in under yours, and just sort of and they look at they eye each other carefully, and then continue sort of living down here. And how they live or reproduce or whatever. God, hard cut to the chat talking about my hair again. Anyway, so
I know you said you're worried to jump up, but how do you feel about dropping down? I know what I said earlier.
Mm-hmm.
When presented with empirical evidence, a good skeptic changes its mind. Their mind.
Well, we haven't gained any height over the past few hours. And whatever those are, I see no loss in going to figure out what's happening.
And think of it this way. If they're hostile, perhaps they will kill you, and then you'll be regenerated in your crucible. That was meant to be reassuring.
You're very cheery today. Bringing the bright side to every situation.
Yes.
And then I jump out.
okay. What is your intent to land on? Like a lower landmass?
Yeah,
or
a lower landmass. I want to get proximity to things. I don't want to jump onto a living story just yet.
Okay.
It's not really like a safe way to start.
Well, as you jump down, though, you're falling for a few minutes, or like for a minute in the air, and you can see that one of these things, like, sort of, you catch its attention, and whether it's traveling out to like sniff you or bite you, it quickly like sort of moves through space heading towards you, and you see this too. It's like heading down at him at speed as he, sort of like falls down to the lower landmass. You can also, both of you can confirm that like you're going to land on this thing. Mm-hmm. If this thing doesn't interact with you, you're not going to fall. But like you didn't miss the jump. Mm-hmm. Right. but this thing is definitely coming at you. Mm-hmm. So you can do something or not do something? It's up to you.
I'm gonna trust it and just continue to fall. Mm-hmm.
Okay, you the same?
Yep.
All right, it attacks you. Oops. Don't stop trusting. You're a good soul. Make a defense spread of 10.
Is this actually combat, or? Just...
Well, yeah. This is, if you want, in terms of triggering your ability, yes. It's like weird.
Now
swamp.
I'm the smartest person in the room.
Mm-hmm. Now, it's not going to be a space kraken, Sax. Why would you think that?
It's not a space kraken.
It isn't not a space
I'm
kraken.
gonna burn a spark to put Valoria to defense, which brings me to 10 total.
Actually, make it 13.
All right.
And here's the heroic card back.
Thank you.
Atmos!
I made a serious mistake.
I made a huge mistake as well. As I said, perhaps you'll return to your crucible sooner rather than later.
So how do you, like, it sort of opens its mouth, and like, its teeth are made of like, a knife, a jagged rock, like a
piece of fence post,
a bone, like and it sort of opens its mouth towards you, and you defend. So what do you do? How do you get clear of it, that it doesn't bite you? What does this defense look like?
Oh man. Well, I don't want to.
Right?
Yeah.
Come on, play mail games.
Yeah. Well done, Wes.
Oh, Nightsteeds made a donation, so
Thank you, Nightsteeds.
we'll find out what that is in just a second. As soon as
So, I pull my hammer from a sheath on my back, and I swing it so I hook it into the corner of the beast's mouth, and use my momentum to swing up onto its back.
Okay.
So I do not have to deal with the sharp teeth. Not baleen. Like, none of its biology is matching up with my expectations here.
Well, as this happens, your body heats up to epic proportions and burning chrome activates. So you land on the thing on fire,
Ooh.
which, being not made of like flesh, it's not. I mean, it's damaging it certainly, but it doesn't like going, oh no, not on my back. I didn't have a panic attack. I don't know why. For some reason, I cut to the horse in my head after that. Like, and then the horse is like,
Grass eat. Grass eat.
grass eat. Brought to you by Grass Eat. You also get everywhere and nowhere this time.
Oh, cool.
Well, and since I didn't take any wounds, I'm on fire now, so burning chrome. I can burn a spark to make an immediate counterattack that automatically hits.
Do it.
And I am going to continue to course over this thing's back from Grace, so that is, I'm going to burn another spark to put this back to attack. So, using my hunter skills, I'm scrambling all the back of this thing, and I punch it right in the blowhole.
Okay.
My burning face.
The blowhole is a miniature golf tee hole.
And so that.
Oh my God! It's
is
sweet cup and cakes. Anyway, so you.
11. Yeah, so we'll go with 11 with no defense.
Okay. You smash it, and the materials sort of like fold into each other and sort of like coalesce for a second and like sort of shatter. And you can see there's a wound, for lack of it. Like there's missing matter now where it hits, and the thing sort of like starts to like angle and dive deep, either because it's like dying and can't keep itself aloft, or because it's like doing some sort of deliberate deep dive.
Yeah, once again.
Meanwhile, the other one that was underneath the thing is like banking in to try and go after you, and you're still up at the.
Oh, I'm jumping off.
Okay.
Yeah. Are you kidding? Yeah.
Well, now
Take your time.
what do you?
This is fine. This is fine.
It's all fine here. Hold on 1 second. I'm gonna grab the torch.
Insert a comic image of the little dog in the room on fire. This is fine.
Well, I'm on a whale on fire.
Yeah.
With
Yeah.
another whale coming in to get me.
Yep. All right.
I love that artist, like, his whole career was made by that
Yeah.
one comic. Just goes to say, if you capture the zeitgeist of a nation,
Yeah.
yeah. First there was Shepherd Fairy, and then there was Dog on Fire. That's a sad transitional image on the. Really?
Yeah. This is not fine. This is not okay.
Oh, okay. Good for Dog.
They shot a gorilla, for fuck's sake.
Remember when
He
that
had to
was,
make it about Harambe.
Yeah. Remember when that was the most of our problems?
I missed that gorilla. I'm not saying everything went out because of the gorilla, but...
Do you see the $1 million eBay auction for the Cheeto that looked like Harambe?
Oh my God.
And then people like started finding other Cheetos that looked like
Various
the
things.
Vegas thing, like Harambe, and like trying to sell that too.
I saw a
It looks
piece
like
of
Harambe,
ham.
but with Elvis's head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I
then
saw
that
a
just
piece
looks
of
like
ham that
Elvis.
looked like Jabba. That was pretty convincing.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, it was actually like really spot on. It had the eyes and mouth.
Wearing
and
a
everything.
jacket with a Virgin Mary
mean-
on the back.
If I was really wealthy, I think I would buy all those things and just keep them in like my own personal museum of stupid shit I bought online. But if I wasn't really wealthy,
I'm
yeah,
eccentric.
yeah, like, check out this. This is the Harambe Cheeto. I bought it.
It's a piece of lint. I don't know.
Yeah. Someone sold it.
The fuck do I care? I'm rich.
Yeah. See the guy who made an eBay post to be a voice advertiser, basically? Like, he agreed to yell about whatever product you wanted for like a year or something, and Hall's Fruit Breezers paid him like $60,000 for 1 year from going, Hall's Fruit Breezers, like as he walked through life all the time. Yeah, there was a hot second there where eBay and Amazon were used for evil.
Yeah, just one hot second.
Yep, it was the hottest second.
Yes. All right, so yes, I'm jumping into the abyss where the reality whales are.
Okay. And that's the name of that monster, Reality Whale.
You're
Well,
welcome.
what is your intended landing point? If nothing were to interrupt you.
I want to land on the one that you're not on, but is making a dive for its
Okay.
companion and ostensibly you.
Yes.
So that is a moving target. So make a grace check to make that.
I can do some things. Can't do very many things, so.
It is a. You might want to. Yeah, I'll take this. Thank you, campaign coins, for your wonderful campaign coins and plate mail games. Both great additions to your gaming table.
Okay, so just straight up grace, I can only do 5. I've got 2 traits that I think would be questionable to use. There's Untouchable, which is 5 when it's in a defense spread, or there's Hunter, which is an attack spread.
I'll let you use Hunter.
Okay.
But I'm not sure that's going to make the math work. What do you got?
But that's 10.
10. Okay.
All told.
Unfortunately, the whale is moving faster than you think, or the reality whale, or it like dashes just as you're jumping, and you find yourself sort of like, it's very clear before you get there that you aren't going to make it. However, because of Everywhere and Nowhere, if you want to just toss that ability now, you can be wherever you want to be when you end.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Oh, wait.
Yep. So you want now you can literally be anywhere. So where do you want where do you want to end up?
I still want to be on that whale.
Okay.
Seems reasonable.
Yeah.
My attack on my whale diverted it in one way.
Yeah.
Maybe not the best way, but
I want to try and communicate with it, actually.
Thank you, Night Siege, for that donation. You just saved Michael a long fall into an endless abyss.
Story of my life, Nightsteed. Not really. Not really.
Not really. Yeah, really. So you land. Now you're on it. What do you want? What do you want to do now? Yours is arcing down. The other one, it can't really attack you on its back. The other one, though, is coming at you and it will attack you after this round. But
I have a shit hand. So what I'm going to do is use Consume Heat. And just kind of, it's really lightly smack the thing with the hammer. It's going to be 3 damage, but then I can discard
Stop.
3 talents that aren't doing me any favors. And I get 3 sparks back, and Michael does not burn any.
No, I burned 2.
Okay, then he gets 1 as well.
Thank you.
okay, so you smack it. It doesn't penetrate its armor really. Sort of like armor slash like as you're hitting it, it's like a masonry chunk, and you're like, oh crap, that's not a thing that I can hit with a hammer.
If it was a stronger attack, I would have just shoved the hammer into the wound I had caused, but
Yeah.
that's like not gonna.
Yeah.
It's like 3 is more just like poking it. Like, does that hurt? Does that hurt in there?
It's a plate from Waffle House. I don't know.
So make a defense spread of 10 now. So your turn ended, so you can draw back up, and then make a defense spread of 10.
Okay. Well, that's easy. Well, actually, less easy. Okay.
Unless it's for an ability, yeah, you're flipping it.
Yeah.
Oh, you got it. Okay.
Okay.
So you gird yourself, and this one, like it sort of has a different shaped mouth that opens up, and it's like full of razor sharp pieces of glass and whatever, and you're just sort of like, "Ugh," and your body hardens up, and it goes like, and everything breaks against you, and it catches on fire because that's what happens right now. And then it sort of, it also sort of like makes you're on it. It sort of like spins around upside down as it's sort of like banking around the other one, like a fighter like peeling off. So for a second, you guys are like upside down, face to face. You know.
Do a barrel roll.
I was inverted. Bullshit. Sorry. Not sorry.
Somewhere out there, Flippy's going, "Help me, Atmos! Oh no, help me!"
Okay, so, and how far are we currently from the landmass? We were actually trying to get to.
Good distance. I mean, like that little like
We-
smaller landmass
we
you've sensed.
below
Yeah,
it now?
you're deeper than it. But there's more. Like this, it's getting darker as you go farther. And you notice that as you've gone like deep enough, like you've gone under a couple landmasses that also have these reality whales on them. So they've sort of joined the hunt. But they're a distance out.
Odd.
Yep. Now it's your turn. Okay. Psychometry.
Oh, your favorite.
Thank you.
We need to get off these goddamn whales.
So basically, yeah, all I'm going to do is kind of kneel down and just kind of put my hands on it and, communicate either psychically or verbally or whatever and just be like, we have no quarrel with you, we mean you no harm, we are incredibly disoriented, and if you are even somewhat intelligent, we would like to discuss this with you.
Don't be rude.
These are.
You can't hear me.
This is a rogue intelligence. It is created by like happenstance around some core, which is probably in the center of the mass here, that has enough remaining intellect that when it enters this strange world, it sort of forms a body around it.
Okay.
It doesn't really have a way to understand or rectify the communication you're making with it, but you can definitely feel like it's operating out of some sort of strange instinct.
Okay.
It doesn't mean you any harm. If you exert any arcane influence over it, you think you could probably control this the same way you control the landmasses here.
Okay.
It doesn't have any more knowledge about what's going on than you do. It's basically like an accidental creation,
Fascinating.
scraps of something.
Fascinating.
Fascinating good or fascinating bad?
This is beyond belief. I mean, it's a thought encased in existence. We did talk to the horse, kinda.
Okay, well, all right. We'll have to get our way. We have to. When we wend our way back up, potentially, we'll stop by and see.
Stop by the horse?
what
Because
Mr.
he was
Ed
doing
has
great
to say.
impressions, and we determined his name was James Baxter.
Yeah, we didn't want to interrupt him.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Grass seed.
Grass seed. Grass seed.
This feels blue.
There was a horse in my Dick and Johnson game on Monday,
Oh.
and Taliesin Jaffe space punched the horse, but somehow that became the horse's name.
Space
The
Punch.
horse's name was Space Punch, and then they murdered him, and like threw his head at somebody in a Godfather reference. The person they threw the head at didn't get. All right, so what do you want to do? I mean, there's a core to this thing somewhere too that like may or may not have more answers, if that's the way of putting it.
Okay. Well, I know what I want to do, but
It's your torch.
Do these things count as buildings or fortifications?
Yeah, I mean they are made of materials, so yes, your abilities.
They are
that
nouns.
ability would work.
So my destruction
Yes.
ability. Let's see here. So, typically destruction would be a skill spread.
Well, if you have a specific thing you want to do with destruction, then we can make a skill spread about it.
Okay.
If you want to just make an attack and like lean into your destruction ability, then we can just add 5 to
Add
that
5.
attack
Okay.
and just call it an attack.
Yeah, I think that is probably.
But if you're like, I want to break it in half, then you can make a destruction spread because it is basically a physical, like it is an only semi-sentient physical object.
So it's a building / fortification that happens to be animate.
Yes, it's an animate building / fortification.
Okay, then if that's the case, I am going to, let's see, makes the most sense here. I think an attack with the +5
Okay.
because I have Call Lightning and it can ignore its defense. I'm basically going to lay hands to this beast. And my hair fire goes out, and I just channel all of my arcane fire magic into it.
Okay.
And I call out to Ink, I'm going to blow this fucking thing up. And just
Certainly one approach.
so basically, that's 5, 10, 11, 13, and I ignore its defense.
Okay. You channel all this arcane energy into it, and you can feel like that whatever you may not have destroyed it, but you permanently, or at least for a long time, reduced or damaged or suppressed the coalescing force that was holding it together. So all of a sudden, this reality whale that you're on is just a bunch of random crap that's all in the shape of a whale for the hot second before it starts falling apart. So,
Okay, so you have to disintegrate it.
Yeah, so it basically all the individual pieces, every piece of material that isn't like the piece of material next to it, suddenly is falling and in separate directions. So it just sort of, and you with it, sort of tumbling, and you see that in the center of it is a mask. It is a fallen mask, but it's cracked.
Okay.
And for a thing that is a mask and has no eyes, the no eyes look lifeless, and you don't know what that means, but it looks, and it just sort of, it's not the puppet master or whatever, it's not puppeteer, but and that sort of is spinning while everything else falls away from it. It's clearly the center point where everything sort of when you take a magnet out of a bunch of iron filings, you can tell where they all fall from that. And so you're falling now.
Yeah, that was part of my plan.
As is all this debris. Your whale sort of turns away from the falling mass.
Wait, no, why would you do that?
But they don't move very fast. And then two other whales above you are still maybe a round out from getting into your shiz. What do you want to do?
I have an idea.
Well, I've got time.
Try to see if you can land on one of those other masses. This is going to be messy. And I am going to kind of crawl into the thing's mouth and let it swallow me.
All right. Well,
I'll Jonah style, yo. Bam!
either do or don't make a defense 10.
No, I'm not gonna.
All right.
No.
So, divided by 3, take 3 wounds. It sort of chews you
Sure.
in.
That's all right. I ain't scared.
So we both have terrible plans. Excellent.
And essentially, there is no place in its gullet to go. You just get stuffed into the material of it.
Okay.
But now that you know what you're looking for, you feel like you could probably push a hand through material to where the mask is inside this thing.
And that's what I'm doing.
And literally, just it goes chomp, 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 and then your feet are still right behind the teeth. It's just, it doesn't really have a biology. It just sort of pushes you into the
I'm thinking kind of Coraline and kind of Sackboy from Little Big Planet. Yeah. And 9, that movie 9,
Yep.
you remember that?
Great,
Yeah.
All I can say is I'm great at world building.
You are.
Deal with it. All right, so and
Somebody give this man a job.
and by world building, I mean doing things without thinking of their consequences and then calling it art.
That's
So,
fair.
like God.
Yeah, like God. Yeah. In many ways, I am a god of the fictional world in which I create. Wait, that's not news. Everyone's already
Yeah.
known that about DMs.
Yeah.
That's the thing that bothers the living fuck out of me is when people there's a lot of I don't get me wrong. I appreciate I love passionate people who watch these sort of streams, and now that I'm overseeing several role-playing streams over at Geek and Sundry, people who are just that's just not the way it works to the DM for all of our different things. And you're like, no, but it is though, because the DM said it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the part of this game you have to sort of accept.
See previous comment last game about Deck of Many Things. Just saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Things work the way the DM says they do.
Yeah.
Because the book can't be the most powerful thing in the room.
No.
It can be a very useful tool, but no one wants to live in a world where some non-animate object that was written perhaps in obscura is not.
Yeah, it tells
the
you
thing.
how to have fun.
Yeah,
think about
exactly.
your
Yeah,
day,
you have to
no.
run it the way. Yeah.
Like the Bible?
Yeah, exactly. Man,
a good
you've made this
example.
religious so many times.
Sorry.
Stop it, newly Mormon Michael Holmes, apparently.
What? When did that happen?
We get it. You read the Bible.
Wait, no. Oh.
The horse is now wearing a white suit with a small like name tag. I know. I feel like a white
Got like a
button
bicycle
down.
helmet and
Yeah.
a white button down and tie.
Very glad that you came back to my landmass. Do you have a moment to talk about our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ?
Our Lord and Savior's like
We shouldn't have talked to this goddamn horse.
I liked it better when he was Bryan Cranston.
You're ready to talk about our Lord and Savior, Mr. Ed.
By the way, Bryan Cranston, like, seriously dedicated to the Power.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah,
He
Power
is
Rangers
into that.
property.
Yeah.
What's that?
He started work with Saban.
Yeah.
Back in the day. He used to voice masters.
Yeah, he was.
Oh, yeah. Shit, really?
He's been involved with the Power Rangers since it came to this country.
That's why
Oh
Billy
my
was
God.
Ed.
He's
That's why
been
Billy
around
was
forever.
Cranston.
Yeah,
That's fantastic.
Didn't know that.
and so he's deeply involved with this new one too. Bryan Cranston's really just kind of magical.
Yeah,
really
he's
is.
one of the coolest dudes in history.
I hate to fall for something so obvious, but like that thing where he was reading mean tweets and someone's like, "You're like Jim Carrey." It was Jim Carrey and something else, and he just responds by doing the impression of those two things.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's got
Yeah.
a great sense of humor about himself.
yeah.
He's also really talented. It's one of those things where you're like, damn it.
Remember when he was in Saving Private Ryan for like 2 minutes at the very beginning? Yeah,
Yeah.
he's like a general who lost an arm in World War One. Yeah, who basically sets about the process of Saving Private Ryan.
And it's one of those things, he was so good in Breaking Bad, everyone just forgot he was like Hal from Malcolm in the Middle. Just like that part of history
Yeah.
got edited out because you're like, that wasn't that important.
And everyone forgot in the Malcolm in the Middle pilot, you watch his entire giant hair-covered body being shaved while Malcolm is upset.
Yep.
Well, that's the thing about
I've never forgotten.
yeah, that's the thing about Breaking Bad. Breaking Bad is a great idea, and it was well written. Don't get me wrong. But Bryan Cranston's incredible acting ability made that the amazing thing it was.
Oh, yeah,
Like, the
absolutely.
linchpin of that is Bryan Cranston. And I think people forget that and think it was, like, the concept or the writing or the blue meth. But it's not. It really, like, anyone else could not have helped made that the way it is.
And no disrespect to Aaron Paul, but I mean, he's fine. Like, I haven't watched The Pact.
Yeah.
It doesn't really speak to me because him kind of out of that context is like, you're just another kind of okay-looking actor
I mean,
guy.
he's amazing
Yeah.
as the supporting
Jesse?
character.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
he's
Right,
he's
but yeah, I can't imagine carrying a vehicle.
no, but like in
But you
in
need the
in
Bryan
BoJack
Cranston.
Horseman as
Yeah, the
like
supporting character.
he's great in that, and he's
I'm
he's
sure
now the
Need
voice
for
of way
Speed
too much
movie
shit.
was fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, anyway.
Sorry. All right, so just 20 more minutes about how much you want to fuck Bryan Cranston,
Yeah.
and then game.
And Brian,
Right?
if you're watching, call me.
come
Yeah,
on in.
as they say, you can come and get it.
Come and get it.
Come and get it.
My blue mouth, Bryan Cranston.
Oh, that's distasteful.
Yes. Well, in the context of me asking him for sex, yes. But
Like, yeah, that's exactly what that is.
yeah, that's
To
accurate.
the letter.
Yep, love it. All right, so so you're falling, you're in a whale. What goes on now? So
Well-
there isn't an immediate landmass below you.
Is there a landmass though?
There's a land mace. It's actually DM Mason McDaniel being like, "Hello, what's happening? We agreed you wouldn't bring me into these things, Sax." No, but no, there is not one of those islands below you. You're just falling. I mean, there are some at distance. You can see them. I'm not saying they're out, but like you're not. It does not appear you're going to land anytime soon. And unlike the first time you fell into this place, like it.
You would say that.
Hi, Mac. Hi.
Ew.
Sorry, guys. Do we have time to dovetail into 45 minutes about werewolves? We have to work for our one audience.
There we go.
Hey, chat. By the way, Mac and I are talking about doing some ghost hunting in a while,
Oh,
so
sweet.
we'll let you know how
Nice.
that goes. Also,
My-
Mac, sorry I didn't discuss that. With, never mind. Never mind.
Hey, how about the Howling Four, where they're all
The marsupials?
kangaroos?
Yeah.
There was a great book. Sorry, well, you know what? We might as well just take a second then. If we already did Bryan Cranston, just do the
Just
plugs.
like lean back and
Yeah,
settle
all
in.
right, here we go.
Carry
Welcome
on.
to the podcast part of today's show. Hi, Mac. Thanks for initiating this.
I'm guessing
Right.
you're not at Disneyland.
Again.
There's another way to go see Batman, Lego Batman.
Oh,
I hear,
nice.
I hear it's the best
Okay.
Batman film in like 10
I'm
years.
going to go ahead and say yes.
Oh, did you see it?
Yes.
Really?
All right, yeah.
It was adorable.
Okay. That I
might-
believe.
It actually forced Batman to deal with emotional issues.
Shit.
Oh man, that's a first.
I have had so little sleep, and I have to be again. I'm working at Geek and Sundry again tomorrow, like making it like basically like 4 combined weeks with no rest. But I might still go see it because I'm that psyched.
Nice.
But all right, so there's a book, and I forget what I think it's like horror writers on horror movies, and it's about people who wrote books that were adapted into horror films, and their take on those books.
So like Michael Crichton.
Yeah.
Michael Crichton and Dean Koontz.
Yeah, and Dean Koontz too. And
Yeah,
Koontz Electric
Stephen
Boogaloo.
King. Like
No,
the 4
but
people.
it's the guy who wrote The Howling, who I'm sure Mac knows the name of right away, but it's the guy who wrote The Howling, talking about how, like, the Howling adaptation was kind of close, but the real joy of his section is him talking about, like, the 19 Howling sequels. He's like, The Howling 2 was okay, The Howling 3 is a werewolf movie with no werewolves in it, in Howling 4, they're in mysteriously marsupials. I wrote The Howling 5, but they changed that. It was backwards from how I wrote it. Like it's just like, and so it's his
Yeah,
takes on it. It's
fascinating to
really
see.
interesting. And then he also there was that movie where like the kid is being stalked by like a little gremlin and the cat protects him. Is it called Cat's Eye?
Cat's Eye. Drew Barrymore based on Steve.
I think he wrote a treatment on that. I think that's the one that he wrote. It's either that movie or one very similar to it. And he saved the cap. I know somebody was looking for him. He talks about how in that movie a guy falls out of a what?
Howling 3 is the most
Okay.
Howling 3. Okay.
Oh, I love you, Mac.
For Mac, several.
Yes, but like a guy fell out of in his movie. A guy fell out of a window and gets impaled on a fence, and the producers were like, "Hey," and this is the writer like writing like absolute salt
good
to the
for
USA. I'll take a
Thank
beer.
you.
And he goes like, "So they asked me. Originally in the script, I had him fall out of a window and get impaled by a fence." But they told me that wasn't going to work, so instead he was going to fall out the window and collide into the hood of a car and make a big dent in the car. That was in 25 movies that year. Like it's just the cattiest bullshit. Like it didn't want to take the note. The Patsy Coconut
Yes.
Rye Stout.
That is a Monty
Patsy?
Python reference.
It's the clackety clacks. Hey, here's a question, audience. Well, we have Mac in the chat too. If we did a special like Saving Throw is an RPG show, right? But would you watch? Yeah, not from watching today. You're thinking, but if we
Not the one I've seen.
if we did like a 2-hour interview where like Michael Holmes interviewed Mac about werewolves as a special episode, would you tune in? I think the answer is yes.
I
think,
would. I'd tune in.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would watch the living hell out of that.
I mean, if I was not Michael Holmes interviewing Mac, I
Yeah.
would totally tune in.
Michael Holmes, excuse me,
Inside
Michael
the
Holmes, the
werewolf studio.
DIY house guy,
Oh, sure,
is going to
sure.
interview Mac.
As long as it's not Michael Holmes, the Australian CNN broadcaster, that's
Yes.
fine.
No, it's the DIY house Michael Holmes interviewing the Mac who was
Yeah, keep going.
It was MacGyver. It's MacGyver as referenced by MacGyver's friend. No, MacGyver's friend's name is Mac. Mac was the pilot guy with the mustache and like the watch cap who always gets MacGyver into trouble. It's that person being interviewed by Michael Holmes, and so we can definitely
Just talking about
watch it.
werewolves.
Yeah, there's no way that actor's dead. So
Everyone would watch it except Mac.
okay.
That's
Well, she.
fair.
I mean,
Is it because
Okay.
she's physically incapable of watching it, or are you just being contrary?
that's the joke. Yeah.
Insert Fry meme here. Yeah. Yeah.
So what's the brass ring as an animator? Is it making a show that people think about forever, or making a show that generates like 4 memes or more that everyone uses all the time?
Yes.
Because the shut up and take my money and don't know if memes are
Not
like
sure if.
the not sure if memes are so fucking good
Yeah.
that it's almost Futurama just happens to be like the actual animated show with heart. That like I mean I cried at several Futurama episodes. That's not okay, Futurama.
It's a great show.
Jurassic Park, man.
Yeah, Jurassic Park is a good one. And the one where he puts all the planets in line, I think, for
Yes.
her and
Time
undo
keeps
it.
on slipping. That's what it is, because it's got the
He gets
Globetrotters.
the devil's hand so he can.
Yeah,
play the-
Godfellas.
Yeah.
That won an Emmy.
Yep.
Right,
Yeah, yeah.
There's so many
There's a lot
good
of really
episodes of that
beautiful
show.
episodes.
But again, is its success really the fact that, like, you know, that you can still post the coffee meme?
I mean, I think it still holds up. Like, seasons 3 on are just
10 more
a
minutes
great
of this
show.
game. Really, seriously, stick with us. It'll be
don't-
worth it.
I don't think this is the terrible part of our episodes.
No.
I think that good RPG shows should be about people hanging out around a table, and I would
Yeah,
definitely be
the
having these
social aspect
conversations
of
whether
gaming,
the
yeah,
cameras
for
there
sure.
or not. I think my Friday D&D games with my actual like local D&D group, we game for about 1 of the 4 hours we're together.
And not consecutive.
Yeah, and the rest of it is just
Yeah.
being like, oh, that reminded me of a thing. Because when you're our age, to be fair, D&D is just the only thing that's bringing you together every week, so you have to do a lot of catching up.
Yeah.
It's fair.
All right, we'll get back in the game.
No?
Unless anyone has any more plugs.
I started reading the first Law trilogy on the recommendation of a friend. It's by Joe Abercrombie.
Okay.
The first book is called The Blade Itself, and it's a slow burn. I read the first 100 pages of the first book, and after that, that took me a couple weeks just to kind of like warm up, and then I read the preceding 400 pages in 3 or 4 days. It's really it's like gritty fantasy. There's magic involved, but in such a way where it's kind of more tantalizing and underlying a world where magic has been more or less forgotten, but it is now coming back to the forefront. The fight choreography is really good, which is a weird
In a
thing to say
book?
about a book.
Yeah. Oh, shit.
Right? And so I stopped by my friend's house. He was in Mammoth, and I stopped by just to swap out the first book for the second.
Wow, that's
Special trip.
dedication,
I'm
yeah.
super excited about that. And then I'd also like to recommend the Santa Clarita Diet. It's a new Netflix show. Full disclosure, my aunt worked on it, but it's just a really funny show.
How are you and
And
Drew
without
doing?
giving too much away, you're advocating the show, not the actual Santa Clarita diet espoused in the show.
No, do not eat people. Don't
Okay.
eat people.
No more cannibal talk.
Yeah,
Alright,
if you're a
alright.
revenant, like keep that
Yes,
to
we've
yourself.
had enough cannibal talk for today.
Cannibals was last
don't
episode. No,
don't
yeah.
murder. But it's a really funny, smart, and well structured show. There's heart. It's dark. It goes to a lot of different places. And watching 2 real estate agents murder people is less disturbing than you would think, but then gets more disturbing than you would think very quickly. Highly recommended. Invest some of your weekend in that.
Nice.
All right, Mac, you get to make a plug too if you want. All right, do you have any more before we get?
I just watched Cast a Deadly Spell on HBO Go, which is actually from the early 90s, I believe.
The first of the 2 Lovecraft
Yes, because
detective
the second one
movies.
is Witch Hunt, which is not available on HBO Go yet, but it's got Clancy Brown, it's got Julianne Moore, it's got David, God, what's his name? He was Sark in Tron, doesn't matter. And it follows a detective in Los Angeles in the late 40s named Howard P. Lovecraft, who does not use magic, and everybody else does because it makes things easier, and it goes exactly every place you think it would go, and it's super great. There are a couple of seen through the 2017 lens and sensitive things about transgender individuals, so that might be a little bit of a trigger warning, but all that aside, it's really good.
Witch Hunt.
Witch Hunt has Dennis Hopper in it.
With Dennis
But yeah.
Hopper as H.P. Lovecraft.
Yeah.
And that one is one of my favorite movies of all time.
Yeah.
And it also, because I guess the people who wrote this book wanted to explore magic and gender change, has the drag artist Lip Synca as a fantastic magician who, amongst other things, has the brothel that only magic could make, where she brings the girl out and then you tell her what you want the girl to look like, and she magics the girl into that.
So good.
But also has what's his name? Julian Sands,
Yes.
as the bad guy.
Yeah.
As
The
Finn
warlock
Moxa.
himself.
Yep, as Finn Moxa, the bad-eyed, the sour-eyed. Yeah, it's a really, really great film, and it has a great magical universe. Highly recommend it.
Yeah.
But so I don't necessarily have a specific plug because I've literally been doing nothing but work for the past weeks, I will re-plug The Expanse, which we finally watched all of season 1.
I hear it's really good.
So good, and it's just it's a
cool.
great example of it's actually the one problem I have with The Expanse is the best kind of problem, which is they build this wonderful political universe of like the asteroid belt and Mars and Earth and like the interpolitical problems amongst them, and then
Trade Federation deals.
yeah, and then shit starts going wrong, and they have these great characters who kind of got stuck in the middle of
see
it,
what
who
you
just
did
happen
there.
to be like a really good crew of people, and you kind of want to follow them. And then as the first season goes on, they introduce like an additional. I won't spoil it at all. There's another thing that starts happening. Like they up the ante one more time. And as I was watching it and loving every second of it, all I could think of is like, wow, this is just, but it's still too far. Like, I would watch 5 more seasons of just the politics before they brought in the other thing. It's sort of like,
the underarching.
yeah.
Whatever, yeah.
It's sort of like if you're like in Firefly, which you can't really spoil at this point. In Firefly, if they just like didn't do the Reavers thing forever, like if Firefly was just
Yeah.
about what is like, you know,
Would have been fun.
yeah, you would have totally bought it, and then
Western space truckers. Like,
Yeah.
fuck yeah, I want to watch the hell out of that show for years.
But then eventually they had to do a part, like, and like, they do that in the first season of this, which is probably a good idea because, like, unlike Firefly, it didn't get canceled. I don't think that was why I got canceled. I think I got canceled because Fox was dumb. But like the point being, like,
Fox has never been dumb. What are you talking about?
It kind of gets started, and you're like, I would have totally done. I would have spun the wheels for another season. It's that well designed, and it is the fault. But I don't know if this is a thing for you. It wasn't for me, but like, if you have always been upset at the lack of gravitylessness in space stuff,
And I have.
yeah, this show delivers. Almost none of it has gravity, and they use like you know, SFX and like post stuff. Everyone's sort of slightly zero gravity, and they have magnet boots, which you see them activate whenever they need to move place, and they float from place to place. There's whole scenes where like they pour water, but they're on like a planet that has low gravity, and like it has so like the water spins in a weird way into stuff. Birds on one of the like asteroids there fly like they flap like twice and then like kind of hover and then flap like twice. Like they've done it is the best gravity work in anything. So recommended.
Cool. Okay.
But again, I haven't. I watched. I stopped. We finished it a week ago, but I haven't had any time. All right, what does Matt got?
Nothing I can discuss in Flight Company.
Wait,
Classic.
she can't
Bovee.
recommend something she can discuss in play.
How
Mac,
much of what Max says can be discussed in Play Company?
Mac, text me this recommendation. It sounds so intriguing. I won't tell anyone, but like that's hot.
Text me and I will
We'll be on
tell
Happy
everyone.
Jacks tomorrow.
Oh
Oh,
yes.
yeah, right. For Vampire the Masquerade. So
Yeah.
tune into Happy Jack's RPG show, which is super, super great. And you can see Mac, yeah, like Steven say, play a werewolf vampire.
Yep. And we just took she posted on Instagram about that, and their set is beautiful. Really like that show. Kind of good, right? Okay, so
All right.
you're falling. You're in a whale.
And I'm singing the Mariner's Lament by the Decemberists.
Oh wow.
'Cause
Which
it's
you know and no one else does because you're the only person with access to
Exactly.
information. What do you want to do?
Well, I don't really have any options here.
You could will one of the islands to try and get itself under you by exerting arcane force, or you could try like these. There are still like debris falling with you. You could try and do like a late '90s kung fu movie thing and like hop skip off some of them towards in a direction. I mean, you could even do the sort of who is it that does like? Well, I guess Iron Man's a good example where you fire out some arcane energy and try and push
Yeah.
yourself along.
Who's Iron Man?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know why I said that.
That's all right.
I blamed the
Godzilla
horse.
did that once.
Yeah.
No,
Did he?
you're talking about
It's-
me
did
because
it's-
I'm
Yeah.
He
An
jumped
Iron
in
Man.
yeah.
Yeah.
fire
made of
breath
iron.
and he flew backwards. Yes,
Yep.
he did. This is And, the dumbest, Godzilla's Smart Monster. dumbest shit I've ever seen.
Actually,
Yeah.
wait, isn't Godzilla canonically a female, or is that just in the...
Godzilla's whatever.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes,
Godzilla's a
Godzilla...
dinosaur. That's a gender.
There we go.
That's a gender. Yeah.
Dinosaur. There is a Marvel character who like shoots that doesn't have repulsors, who shoots force down to fly, and I can't think of who it is. It's not the Human Torch. It's somebody.
Iron Man.
No, I mean Iron Man is somebody who does that, but I can't figure out who it
Scarlet
was.
Witch has done that.
I think so. Okay, so what are you gonna do?
I guess I will. Still holding my hammer. Like, I'm just gonna put that away and be like, well, I guess I'll just focus my energy and slowly try to bring one of these landmasses together, pick 2 small ones, and try to form a platform underneath myself.
Okay.
Where if I hit it, I won't destroy it
All right.
with the impact. And so that will be 9, 12, 17.
Okay.
I could make it 20. Would that help?
Yes.
Okay.
All right. So
Seen this before. Somehow I imparted it to you before I got swallowed up in the...
I'll buy it.
Okay.
You were like, if you hard cut to like 6 weeks ago, where you guys like drinking in a bar on Pyre, and you're like, if you're ever falling and you have to control some rocks underneath you,
Just
this is how you're
hypothetically
gonna do it.
speaking, imagine you were in some sort of
little bit
shapeless
extra
void
focus.
with raw chunks of reality. Being who we are, we should be able to control them, right?
How would you affect reality in that
Yeah,
way?
I am so drunk. I don't know where that came from. I hope it's never useful. All right, so you push them together, but there's still maybe a couple, like several hundred feet below you. And unlike when you enter this realm, like you're approaching terminal velocity this time. Like you're actually falling. It's not like sort of drifting down until you find a space. You've sort of become synced with this reality. So you can make a defense spread of 12 to like somehow harden your body enough that when you land, you don't. And actually, this is a like targeted number. Hit 12. If you get less than 12, you'll take damage. If you get more than 12, you'll damage the rocks.
Yes.
So think about that. Meanwhile, you're in a whale.
Man, if I had a nickel. Yeah, and I'm fishing around for the fallen mask.
You can get your hands on it, but it's like definitely jammed in there. But does touching it help, or do you need to actually physically take it out?
Well, I mean, I'm not using psychometry or anything, but I just, I guess, I don't know, does touching it help, or do I physically need to take it out?
You can get your hands on it, you can feel like the sort of cold porcelain of the mask, it feels like it's probably a different shape or whatever than the one you found.
I know what I'm going to do.
Okay.
I'm actually going to, now that I've got one hand on it, I'm going to try and get my way up to it and actually place it on my face.
Okay. I'll let you do it for a spark, or you can make a
spark.
and it happened.
Yeah.
All right, so you draw yourself onto it, and like as you put it onto your face, like it's the equivalent of a psychometry thing. You find this was the Whisperer, a fallen from several hundred years ago, whose job it was to take information that would be either useful or disruptive and pass it from place to place by giving small pieces of information to people, and becoming invisible, but was destroyed in a conflict and never never respawned because he was no longer needed or asked for. And he seems to have drifted into this place, and essentially the reality whale is like an extension of his consciousness.
Okay.
And you can almost hear, and this is not just because it's called the Whisperer, but like in like a sort of faint way, you can almost hear like what do you want to know? Like sort of like there's still some vague consciousness in the mask.
Okay.
It's just a distance out.
Sure.
Meanwhile, how do you do?
I'm gonna burn a spark to flip Valoria to defense, which gives me a total of 6. Functionally going to grab my duster and pull it out as if it's some kind of cave. I know it won't help,
All right.
but I have no other options. So
I'll give you a spark because that's charming, but you're going to take 3 wounds from colliding into the space. You take 3 wounds, but you...
I also get 6 sparks and you get 1.
Thanks.
So I get 5 sparks to bring it back to my max.
So you collide into the landmass. It is part of a modern city factory, but that's somehow for whatever reason cut off at like 3 feet. So it's like like a table and then like a wall segment and whatever and a bunch of other things. And then that's been somehow merged by the two of them sort of clashing together with a piece of ocean that just sort of splashes and like there's tides and there's waves are crying on the beach, but
I
like
couldn't have hit that.
nope.
Thank you. Thank you.
Not with a 6, you couldn't.
Even if you had, you still would have like hit the ground under the. Watch, like, have you ever
Gotcha.
jumped into a pool and not
Yeah.
been aimed the right direction?
That's fair.
Yeah, you would have had such a rash or a burn. Man, that is embarrassing when you're a kid. When you belly flop on something and then you have like that's
The impact,
yeah. That is the sweating through a hypercolor shirt of cooldom.
Yes. Yes.
So you smash into it, and you can feel it like almost like at your impact, but it doesn't
Yeah,
break
I feel
apart
like
or whatever.
Bounce and like pull on reality a little bit. Like
Yeah.
this could have been much worse, but also much better.
So when you pull the mask to yourself, like you feel like if you wanted to, you could will it to be disconnected from the whale around it, and as a result, the whale would fall away, and you would just be like you and the mask would be in space. You also feel like you could exert effort over the whale and push it to go in directions and do things by spending sparks or by making like big arcane rolls. Or you could just simply like release the mask and go. I mean, or you could even, if you wanted to, push to try and like have a conversation with / communicate with the ghost of the Whisperer. You know, the last remnants of this thing.
That one.
Okay, what do you want to know or ask?
I have a feeling I'm not going to get a lot of these, so I'm going to try and make them count.
I'm just gonna be lying. Here.
Where is this place?
Okay. So meanwhile, you see the whale, the reality whale that he's in, like basically does that like the dead fish thing where it like it's moving forward and then it goes like, ugh, and then it starts like floating up almost, like it like bends backwards on itself because you basically like you've gained all the attention of the remnant personality.
Right.
And as you're seeing that, the two other whales like bank around it, heading down towards you, and they're gonna fall on trying to attack you on the ground at some point. So you should think about what you're gonna do about that. Meanwhile, the amazing ink is so you it like sort of pushes you into sort of like a alternate construct, and you're like one of those like shaky, fuzzy, misty realities, and you're on the province that the Whisperer was originally native to. And you can see like the Whisperer mask, even though you can still feel the cold porcelain on your face. The Whisperer mask in your vision like sort of coalesces, and like a vague wispy body comes around him, and him or her, and it sort of like reaches out to you and sort of like comes in close and says, "This." I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah, that's
it's
fine.
Fucking terrible for them, but it sounds like that is the idea.
Sure.
But instead, I'll do Billy Conley. Oh no! Oh, it's right. All right. This is a prop now. It's not gonna have any impact if it's like this is a crazy place you're in now.
Yes, and
Tune in for Billy Conley as the voice of something on Dick and Johnson Monday though, because I'm not passing that up. But,
Yeah, there you go.
So, it says like, this is a remnant, a storage place for the last remains of all the things that are dead but can't pass to the darkness. These things are often the fallen who no one needs anymore. These things are often crucibles for phoenixes who never came back. These things are often the last remnants of a culture that has never returned to the earth, but that the powers that created the universe are unwilling to discard fully. This is the void. It stands between the dusk and the darkness. At one side is a return to some semblance of mortal life, and in the other, endless nothingness for the rest of time.
Sorry, Michael Holmes is having a moment here.
All right, so what do you want to? You can ask another question.
Okay.
Meanwhile, these whales are like, you have a second. Like you can brace for impact here, or you could like set a pike for a charge, or you could run under something, or you could dive under the water if you think that would be helpful. Like or you could find something in the factory space.
How close are these whales
They're like
to each other?
interesting question. Less than 100 feet, between 50 and 100 feet.
Okay. I think I'm gonna wait till they're right on top of me, and then attempt to use my Reign of Destruction talent to basically a spread of 15 against them. What are they made of? Is there anything like extra flammable in their makeup?
Children's Halloween costumes.
I think I see some nylon in there.
Tiny human torch. You can either make a grace spread, or you can make a fire spread, which would be a skill spread with intellect or grace to determine if something flammable's in there, or you can just give me a spark and I'll tell you.
Yeah, I'd rather just burn the spark.
All right. There are like one of them you can see is like part of its left flank and one of its fins are made up of like discarded lamp oil barrels. Or lamp oil flasks, and some of the lamp oil has leaked out, but because it's being held in the shape of the reality whale, like even like the fin as it sort of fins out is like
it's trailing across the body and actually forming it.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I think I can use this.
Kind of your thing.
Yeah. I'm a little bit concerned because I've been doing a lot of falling lately. We'll have to wait until they're pretty much right on top of me,
Okay.
since they'll be right on top of each other. When they get close enough that I think the explosion of the one whale's lamp oil body will catch the other one in the blast, I unleash a destruction spell or a destruction attack or spread of 15.
Okay.
Plus 5. Smartest person in the room using my observation skills to
Yep.
lamp oil. And then the grace for 5, and then I think that's it for.
All right.
On there.
You wait patiently, and just at the right moment, you strike. One whale ignites and explodes instantly, and the other explodes right along with it. But it also blows away the landmass that you're on.
I figured that was
But
gonna
because
happen.
it's fire, you're completely fine. And you see two masks like spin out from the bodies. One is like the porcelain shape of a beautiful woman's face. Or at least a person in lipstick, I suppose. Let's not give gender to masks now. But it flies off in one direction, and the other one is like a sort of like scaly, craggy maw with a long nose, sort of like a
Plague
plain.
Doctor?
What's that?
Plague Doctor?
Yeah, or like a like 3rd edition / Pathfinder goblin sort of style nose.
Sure.
They both fly away from you, but into space, and the debris, and basically now you're in like a gigantic ball of debris, and you're falling, and there's a good debris cloud around you, like in a circle for about 50 feet in each direction. What are you gonna ask the Whisperer?
Okay, I have a proposition. I understand the words that you're telling me. None of us should be here. When we go to our final rest, that should be it, and yet you continue to swim around in this nothingness, and my companion and I are... We are tasked with defending the waking world from the shadows that dwell herein. Now, would you rather continue to spend the rest of eternity swimming in nothingness, or would you rather help us escape this and experience the light of the sun on your face again?
Whisper voice. Yeah.
Grassy,
Whisper
grassy.
voice, grassy. Whisper voice, grassy.
The newest dance craze.
Yeah. Come on, everybody. Whisper voice, grassy. All right, so.
Unconventional dance moves.
Yes. All right, so you. And the weird thing is, like, the crossover of these two channels, sometime during the next week, some random person whose username I don't recognize is going to put #grassy in the thing that I'm not on because they know I'm watching. Anyway, but it whispers to you, would you summon me bring me back to the daylit world, would you find a purpose for the Whisperer?
You're a keeper of knowledge, are you not?
I only move knowledge from one place to another.
There will always be a need for the Whisperer.
Only if you ask of it.
I will. I will summon you. I will call upon you gladly.
How many bad deals are you gonna make with spooky underworld
Hey,
spirits?
technically that wasn't a bad deal. I mean, that worked out for everybody but me. Hey, good of the many outweighs the good of the one.
Fair enough.
I'll take your bargain to make a bargain again.
Yes?
What do you ask of me? I warn you, until you truly summon me to the daylit world, my powers are diminished here. I am simply the echo of what I was.
Understandable. All I ask is for safe passage for me and my compatriot out of the void, back to the crucibles at the least. I shall keep you in safekeeping until we are in the daylit world, but there are many miles to come before that happens. Do you trust me? I've no reason to deceive you.
I'll trust you because neither of us are in a position to come through with our bargains immediately. But I'll do my best to answer your request if you do the same for me.
I will.
And before I go, I will whisper you one last bit of knowledge. The path you're walking is unconventional and perhaps dangerous, but you're not alone on it, and it doesn't have an end. If you truly desire to travel in the way you go, you can find great power there, but at what price? I've seen many go further. They've told me secrets too. Perhaps we'll conversate about them in the daylit world. Now I'll try and help you. I look forward to meeting you when both of us are alive again.
As do I.
And the whale that you're with just sort of like breaks up. And the mask is together. You're
Okay.
fine.
Okay.
And you sort of fall through. And at a certain point, like, you're both falling now. But like the gravity of your phoenixdom sort of draws you together as you're falling.
Atmos.
And it's that thing where, like, you've been falling for such a distance and there's no immediate, like the horizon line of the ground is not running up at you at this point. Like, you can see every 700 feet, you like can see like in the distance on one of those like islands. They're less and less frequent as you drop, but you sort of come together and you're falling, and then it's almost as if you're not falling because you're just sort of in space. Basically, you are falling, but there's too few objects around to prove it. So you have some time to chat before the Whisperer comes back with a solution.
All right.
Just casually.
Yeah.
Let me guess. You had a nice conversation.
I did. Its name is the Whisperer. It is a ferryman of knowledge from one place to another. I think it'll be useful in our quest. And literally, Ink's just kind of like...
Well, I've gone along with the rest of your terrible plans.
Atmos, I understand that the path that I'm on is unconventional.
It sounds like you heard that somewhere. That was too easy.
But it has no end, and there's some that have gone even further. No,
Oh, the salt.
so many flavors.
The salt is strong.
So many flavors. And
So in the
you're salty.
meantime,
Yes.
we're simply here until your new friend, the Whisperer, was it?
The Whisperer.
Sure. So we're waiting for your new friend to come back with a solution to our predicament.
Well, the way I saw it was either that or fall into the darkness.
What did you promise him?
Simply that it would see the light on its face again.
And fire generates light. So at least there's a backup plan for when this all goes to hell.
I hadn't thought of that. Also, Atmos, as grateful as I have been for your companionship and the skills that you've brought to this wing, I fear that when we return to the world above, that we'll no longer walk the same path.
That implies that we've been walking the same path this time.
We've walked side by side. I like to think it's on the same path. Perhaps they've been parallel. Perhaps I shall strike off in a bold new direction.
And do you think the paths will bring us to face each other? Your words are ominous.
We found ourselves in the dark. I use words that are shadowy, open to interpretation, and their true meaning will only be discovered when the light is shone upon them.
And so you're saying you're not sure what you'll shroud yourself in when you return to the light?
I can't say.
Okay, well,
I ask
something
you again
to think on.
to consider your existence. I don't know, in your mortal life, in the waking world, what you thought would come with death. This is not what I was taught. And for a time I could take comfort in it because it afforded me opportunities in existence that I had never thought possible. But I now come to know that it's an abomination. We shouldn't be here. None of us should be here. We're no better than the dread. Simply my thoughts. They needn't be yours, but now you can see why I fear that we will soon tread separate paths.
I worry for you, Ink.
My worry.
Curiosity is healthy, but it sounds like you might not be asking the right questions.
I understand that. If it gives you any comfort, if I do follow the timeline that so many phoenixes before us have, whatever end I meet at the end of this path is it. And you needn't worry about me any further.
I'm not worried about you. I'm worried about the chaos you'll leave in your wake, making deals left and right with entities we don't truly understand. In your endless pursuit for knowledge, you're putting us all in danger.
I am trying
Putting everything in danger.
I am trying to enlighten the populace. I'm trying to give people, phoenixes, I am trying to give individuals the power to decide their own destiny and not be caught in some hellish loop of reincarnation.
I don't consider this hellish, and I think keeping the Empire safe is a duty that we should take honor in.
And what comes after the Empire?
The next coalition of people, the next civilization.
And what comes after that?
I mean, if you're looking at it on that scale, then none of what we're doing matters. So why do anything? But if you think like that, then there's no point in anything existing. And so then your argument's mute. It's moot. What are you fighting for from here on out then? To end it all?
Thanks, Legend Red.
The Whisperer's mask like pulls itself from your grasp and coalesces like the vague shape of its cloak out of the debris that's falling with you. I bring you secrets from another time.
Great. We need more of those.
Hear it out.
Your path to salvation is through your friend, Atmos. While some may forget you, you still have a call in the daylit world. Initiate that call, and you can drag us all with you from this void to another place.
8, 6, 7, 5.
8, 6, 7, 5, 2, 9.
But I offer you one more piece of information. Some distance from here in your descent, you will travel by a remaining landmass from one of the first crucibles. You may find secrets there that will enlighten you. Perhaps you should not call yourself back to the daylit world before then. But even I do not know what secrets lie in this landmass. Perhaps they are secrets none should know.
If Atmos goes without me, am I trapped here?
His call should bring us all there, including my two friends. And he sort of indicates like the two masks that have been tumbling with you. Perhaps you should decide if they should travel forward before you continue.
And who are your friends?
The seductress and the monster. Two more like me, made in times when their services were needed and then forgotten. Weapons all, the 5 of us.
Some say that a weapon is only a weapon in the wrong hands, otherwise it is merely a tool.
Those who say that are not themselves weapons. Weapons often see... No, I'm going to take that back. Hold on. Those who say that are not themselves weapons. If you are yourself a sword, stabbing is the language you know. You solve all problems through your one function. I am an extension of my function, or was, as are you. As is the seductress and the monster. But all could be allies here. These are the secrets I have for you in my diminished state. I must part with you now. I look forward to you continuing our bargain. And the mask sort of like it literally nothing changes. But you can kind of just tell that like the shape around it is now free flowing. And the mask is just inanimate.
Hang on to that fucker. Atmos, you looked as though you were about to speak.
Were you aware of his 2 hangers-on? And then he said 5. Was he including us in that number, or is it 2 more friends beyond? What did you sign up for?
I told the Whisperer that I would allow it to have the light of the sun on its face again. Said nothing about companions. And it seems as though it's giving us the option to take them with us or not.
You freed these 2 when you destroyed those 2 whales. So you
They find themselves in the same position that you and I do. Can I speak to their higher purpose? No. Are they malevolent? Potentially. But would you wish another sentient being to be trapped in this void for eternity? Would you?
It depends on how dangerous I think they are.
A valid viewpoint. And Atmos, I need to impress upon you that I do not mean to be antagonistic to you. I just feel that as one of the more intelligent of the Phoenixes, you should understand the dangers of the magic that we traffic in. You saw what happened when a Phoenix who meant the best for you wiped you from existence. Would you wield that power so callously, so thoughtlessly?
I admit that the power we wield is dangerous, threatening on a grand scale, but we have to believe that there's a reason why we come back again and again to push back the forces of the dread.
Make no mistake, I want to discover that reason, but I do not believe it is what the marshals set forth. If I can entreat one last favor from you. Let us find that piece of the first crucible and see what mysteries it holds, good, bad, or indifferent.
So to make this like one of those like old click-based adventure games, like the things you can click on, you can engage either of the masks that are falling with you.
I can see it in my head. It's great.
Yeah, and if you do, you'll speak to that to those remnants of those former fallen, and you can learn about them. Then you can either cast them away from you so that when you trigger your return, they don't come along, or keep them along with you if you see value in them. You can also fall to where this first crucible piece is, or if you want, you can essentially force yourself to rank up, which is what causes you you're gonna have to burn out to drag everyone out of this.
Okay.
And you could rank up now. Well, if you ranked up, let's just in context. If you ranked up right now, you and Ink, you'd rank up.
Yeah.
Ink, the Whisperer, and both of the other masks would all travel into the daylit world when you ranked up.
So you have to cast them away.
They'd go but you wouldn't get to this first crucible piece.
Right.
If you're intent on not visiting that, you may want to rank up now. But at this point, you'll definitely take all 3 masks with you.
Okay.
If you ranked up when you got there, like you can rank up whenever you want. Like you can basically pull the ripcord on this whenever you want at the cost of one of your ranks. At which point you'll be thrown into a crucible, and you will be thrown out of the Imperial Flame. And who knows what happens to these? You'll essentially drag them back into the common consciousness, which means somewhere else in the world, someone will like make a wish that will drag one of these masks, or not masks per se, but like one of these spirits,
Right.
into existence.
Gestalt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what do you want to do?
Well, we'll chat with our compatriots, our new companions, figure out if they get to ride the lightning.
Mm-hmm.
But in the meantime, I'm going to request a favor of you.
Name it.
While I might not agree with the road you're walking down, I think it only makes sense if I'm at your side. I too want this knowledge, and I think this will be best held in the hands of more than one immortal.
Agreed.
All right.
No kiss. All right. So, which of the 2 masks do you want to
Engage
handle?
first. What was the
Monster and the
seductress?
seductress.
Okay.
Yeah.
The seductress, I feel like I have a pretty good grasp on her language. So I'm going to engage the monster.
All right. So the way this works is if you both hold the mask and like you can go into like the sort of dreamscape and encounter this creature, or you can spend a spark or 2 to try and initiate it, like to create its like a temporary body as the Whisperer did. Or one of you can hold the mask and go into it while the other one does not and sort of report back.
I feel like we should both go into it together. Yeah.
Okay. So make a collective arcane spread of at least 20 between the 2 of you to travel into this space.
Okay, let's see here.
I can do 12 because here's 7 and then plus 5.
And then, so I have 6 and
5, so it's 11,
5.
so you're fine.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, so you both touch the mask, and you sort of find yourself in that sort of like, overused in movies,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
like shuddery, grayscale, misty place. And there is a terrible monstrosity in front of you that is different to both of you, although I don't think you're comparing notes right now. But it is whatever like it is a monster by your conception. But whatever it is, it's like whether in some mockery of itself or either deliberately that mask is like the front of it. So like it could be like a giant hulking monster with like a tiny face with the mask on it, or it could be like a giant dragon with like its mouth open and then inside its mouth on its tongue is the mask or whatever it is.
That's the one I'm going for.
Yeah, it is.
Well, I
it
was
is.
thinking like the spirit from Spirited Away.
Yeah.
That just like absorbs
yeah.
people. There's a tiny little mask and the giant,
Yeah.
disgusting body.
Yeah.
So it's that.
Either way, I hate this fucking thing. That's gross.
It sort of encounters. Now, mind you, this is just an echo of itself, but it says, "I am the monster. I control through fear. I am what all fear, and by encountering me, I force them to change their path. Sadly,
We have a friend he'd get along with.
your world no longer needed additional fear, and no one called for me long enough that I fell into the void. But I stand ready to serve you if fear is something you need."
Well, there's always a place for fear, and I feel like with the path that at least I am treading, a healthy dose of it might be in store. What do you ask in return?
Take me with, call for me again from the daylit world, and save me from the void, and I will return the favor by using the fear I control to make others change their path. Here I am powerless, and I cannot help you on your current in your current predicament. But in the daylit world, I can serve you if you choose to call me. In my past, I have made great leaders choose the path that supported one faction over another by showing them the fear of the other side's victory. I have made individuals choose to part from their lover or to make alliances against their better efforts by showing them the fear of the want or void had they made the other choice. For there is fear in every choice, even those that benefit us. And by exploiting that, I can change the needle and move someone in a direction of your choosing. All you need do is call for me again in the daylit world, as here I am lost.
Understood.
And you want to rejoin the daylight purely to be alive again? What do you want, monster?
I was created to serve my function, and I can't serve it here. All I am here is an echo of my former self. Bring me into the daylit world, and I will serve you faithfully. Leave me here, and I will remain obscured and empty until the end of time.
We shall take your argument into consideration. I'll let go.
You have the opportunity to encounter it alone while he's let go of the connection if you want to. Otherwise, you can let go as well.
I don't trust you, monster. I know that there must be something else you desire.
I am a tool. I am a weapon. I have one function and I perform it. You needn't trust me or understand me. I use fear for control. You either accept that or do not. But don't assume that my vestiges of a mortal appearance are an actual personality or expression. Like you, I am simply a magical construct designed to perform a function. Any mortality that I mimic is simply an echo of what I used to be.
And you will serve us and only us?
I will serve he or she who summons me. If you summon me together, I will serve you both. Simply call for me in the daylit world, and you will rescue me from an infinity of falling into an endless abyss. I can't blame you if you're afraid, as that is my design.
I fear you not, monster.
Nice. I gotta step out real quick.
All right.
Sorry. Pitch
Will
time
you
again.
step to the fridge for a beer?
Yeah,
what do you want?
Is there another of these? This is really good.
There
That's it.
are. And then we've also got Voodoo Ranger.
Do your
We've
thing.
got
I put the
Danish style
sharp.
red lager.
Sure, I could do a red.
Ice Danish style red lager.
Oh, hey, my hammer's on the top.
Oh, nice. Ah, shit. So I will do a rare thing. I try not to because I figure like they know this channel doesn't need any help. But Geek and Sundry is I am the showrunner for all of Geek and Sundry on the Twitch side anyway. And we have a lot of great shows on that channel, including a show on Friday, which thankfully occurs when we're not up here on Saving Throw Show, so I don't mind pitching it to you. And it's called Eric's TBD RPG. And the design of that show was that we would play an RPG for as many weeks as it took to tell a story, and then stop and then tell a different story. That differs from another show on that channel called Foreververse, where the same characters like jump from universe to universe, sort of slider style. Eric's TBD RPG is currently doing the Doctor Who RPG,
Ooh.
and it's really good. Amy Dallin is the Doctor, and it's a really great storytelling system. To be fair, I'm not entirely sure we're even using it to the fullest yet. Like, we're still growing into
Yeah.
it. It's really well designed. It's challenging and driving, and I'm proud to produce that show. I would love for you all to check it out. It's 12 to 3 on Fridays. It's the Doctor and her companions in an alternate universe. Like this Doctor is a version of the 10th Doctor, 10th or 11th Doctor, I forget. Is a version of the 11th Doctor split apart dimensionally, thus manifesting female and a lot of other things in a world where like things are very different. Last episode, Davros was like a major character. We had Jason Charles Miller playing Davros. it's a great universe to play around in. And the best part about this series is if Doctor Who isn't for you, like come back in a couple of months and we'll be playing something else. It's a great show. Eric is an amazing DM. I highly recommend it. It like this show and like a lot of the shows that I produce or am involved with here on Sailing Through Show, like there are those moments where we have just brilliant character exchanges, and all I can think of is, why aren't you watching? Like I watched a little bit of Friday's Blackback Vikings, and I was like, how is the whole world not watching every moment of this?
Yeah.
Obviously, every show on Sailing Through Show I would highly recommend, but like I do think that there's a lot of good there. Yeah, check it out. It's a great show. It's it was something that it was one of the first decisions I made when I took over at Geek and Sundry was to like take a show that was kind of ad hoc at one of the pit crew shows, and it was just like, this DM's great, these characters are great, do a thing, and I'm so proud of that show. So yeah, cool. And again, I would normally not pitch it on this network. I get it. We have a lot of subs. We don't need any help.
Right.
But if you like this show, you'll like that show, I think. I hope. So check it out. And well, do you want to pitch a little more or jump back into the story here?
I got nothing.
I think the audience is going to enjoy what comes next. So let's jump back in. So you've released it. Do you want to conversate before you do anything else, or do you want to move on to the next thing?
Talk to the seductress. Let's talk to the seductress. See what it has to say.
Okay.
So grab it. I need another 20 spread. Sorry.
Don't be sorry, man.
So that is.
And it's Arcana, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So 8, 5, so 13.
And then I can do
7.
12.
I think we're good.
So yeah.
All right. So you grab the mask, and so we're going to start with you, Atmos, because I'm interested. This particular Fallen, even in the Echo form, the mask is mutable. So we said that it was a beautiful woman's mask, and I suppose like if it was being observed by no one. Like, if you left this Fallen's mask alone in a room with nothing, it would be the mask of a beautiful woman. I don't know what that says about society. But even the porcelain mask itself changes on this one. It is the object of your greatest desire in many ways. Like, it isn't necessarily the person you would fall in lust with, but it is the person you would fall in love with. And I will remind the chat that we are talking about Atmos and not you. What is it?
That's the easy low-hanging answer. I think it looks like my wife. I didn't see her before I died. The first time. I was in my laboratory doing research that, unbeknownst to me, was to basically tear down the Phoenix Order, part of the humanist movement, unbeknownst to me, and rather than let the laboratory and my research get taken, I brought it down on myself, and I never got to say goodbye to my wife. I woke up hundreds of years later.
All right, so this looks like her. I mean, the mask looks like her, and the shape, the apparital shape that comes out of the mask is her body. And it's up to you, the chat, and you yourself to determine, like, exactly how lusty this portrayal is. Like, it could be her in your favorite dress. It could be her dressed as she was most days. It could be her nude. But whatever it is, whatever you think would have the most pop, this Fallen is designed to do that. So the thing that gets in your brain and goes poke, 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 that's what it is. And this is the part that the chat is going to enjoy, and then I'm going to do to Mike without asking. What aspect of Varia does this look like? It can be a werewolf or a woman, or and it's not just this, because there's a secondary question.
No, it's fine.
And hey, if for those of you at home who don't want to believe this is the case, it could just be because you merged souls a bit, so maybe it's just extending that. It may not be your lust.
No. If it's that sort of like a longing, if
Yeah.
you will, I would say it is probably her initial form when she was closer to human.
Okay.
Kind of like before she set on her path of darkness or whatever, which is different from my path of darkness. But you know, it's that first impression that just kind of like, hey, that person's
Right.
kind of cool.
All right. So it appears to you as less werewolfy Varia from rank 1 Varia.
Okay.
And again, it's a porcelain mask of her face,
Right.
but then like her body in whatever way that extends for you, and it doesn't necessarily have to hold a shape. So like as you're watching, it could like shift both of you. And I was gonna say for you, there's a secondary image there of because this is partially inspired by the fact that you like have a piece of her spark which is causing this. Whatever you think Ink's actual response would have been had this never been the case, it sort of phases is 30% there.
Okay.
So you can tell us as much as you want to about that or not.
Well, it's kind of vague. It's a very slim humanoid with short hair, kind of slightly feminine features, but you can't really tell if they're a man or a woman. Just sort of this kind of mysterious other.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's the shape, and it says, the echo sort of coalesces for both of you. It appears separately, but it is in the same space. And then again, like shifty world. I am the seductress, or the seductor. I make one love me, and use that love to twist their allegiances or will. Bring me back to the world of daylight by summoning me, and I will use my abilities to change the minds of those you cannot otherwise control. Or perhaps, in another world, I could use my powers on you. There was a time when I had great call from the daylit world. But things changed, and calling upon something that embodied love became tainted or dangerous. Love itself was too powerful for those to wield, and thus I have not received the call in many years, and I fall into this void, now only an echo of my former self. And then she sort of like separately in your own vision leans into you as if it's to you, even though it's to both of you. You wouldn't let that happen, would you? It's so terrible. You could bring me back. It doesn't have to be forever. I could be back with you. I could be here with you. I don't have to be gone forever. You don't have to feel this way forever. And she gets more translucent. Them gets more translucent. What do you want to ask or say?
So I know the language you speak, seductress. But what worries me is you more so than your friend the monster seem to want to be in contact with others in the daylit world. Will you, again, he made a promise. Do you serve only those who summon you, or do you serve any?
I exist to be loved. It is all I want and all I do. I will serve those who summon me or love them. But as long as I may love a thing, I will serve what I must. I am but a weapon. Point me at your target. Separately, you both hear, it sort of whispers to you, you weren't there before you died, but I could be now. All you have to do is call for me in the daylit world. We can be back together again. I can be her or am her. You'll never be sure if that's not the case. And then as if, and then, he's not reacting at that time, so you don't necessarily know. And then your version of it, the Varia part of it, turns to you and says, this doesn't have to be so contentious. We could be together. It could be exactly what you want. You know better than most what we are. Perhaps it's time to let the animal out. And again, this is during it. This is, you know, they're time displaced, so you see him being like, "Oh, well, she's fucking not talking," while it's happening to you.
The thing about you, seductress, is you're unpredictable. The whisperer only seeks to convey knowledge to those who will listen. The monster only seeks to instill fear. I don't know what your end goal is. You've said so many things that have contradicted other things you've said in the short time that I've known you. And I'm sorry, but I can't bring you back to the daylight world.
Do you let go?
No, I'm gonna wait for him.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like this is something we should be hang die about.
Yeah, we're not taking this thing back with us.
No.
It can't be trusted.
No.
I'm sorry, my love.
All right. As you let go, and like you're like, are you gonna let go as well, or are you gonna hold on for a second?
I will ask one thing of you. How can I grant you final rest?
There is no rest here. We fall forever. And then like she gets really like you're holding on to her, but like her body gets really close to you. Their body gets really close to you.
Right.
And then sort of whispers in your ear, "It's just what you thought.
I'm sorry.
You were right." All right, so you need to like get the mask clear of where you will of you if you want. You can attack it, or you could just make a strength. I guess you both don't have strength, so you'd either make an attack against it or make a grace action to like hurl it away.
I'll make an attack against it.
All right.
I'm going to use Consuming Force, which says when you use this card in a spread, draw one card. So I'm going to draw a card. When you use it in an attack spread, you may burn any number of sparks up to your rank and add 3 to your attack for each spark.
All right.
Okay.
6, that's 18,
Oh,
19,
wow.
20.
All right.
You think that'll put it to rest?
Jesus.
Oh, actually 22 with Grimclaw.
Okay.
Sorry.
So do you hit it with Grimclaw? Is that what you do?
Yeah,
Like,
I just
okay.
kind of chump it
I
down
should
and...
point out that the porcelain mask, now that you've come back out of the construct with it, is Varia's face.
Sure.
That's
and
upsetting.
it's your wife's face. Yeah, neither of you are in any way aware of what the other person saw. And you strike it, and it sort of like shatters, and there's sort of like a scream, like an echoed scream, and it's Varia / your actual true love,
Right.
or the other construct, and it's your wife's scream as you hit it, and it sort of shatters out in many directions, and the force of it at all like pushes the debris around you out as it flies in all directions, and you don't see this, but for just a second you feel like the monster mask is happy about this. It like sort of like looks at you and like with a smile.
I'll tell you what I'm picturing right now is the creepy claymation adventures of Huckleberry Finn, Mark Twain from the 80s, by Will Vinton.
Yes, I'm gonna go ahead and thank Keith Baker for The Fallen being an awesome group to work with.
Yeah.
All right, so you fall for some more time. It is a great distance before you reach that, or let's say again that you fall for as much time as until you reach this first crucible piece, or you choose to flame out. So it's up to you.
No, I've decided to walk this road.
All right.
So we're going to the first crucible. We'll find out what's there.
All right.
Anything we find, we discuss.
Absolutely.
Annoyingly, my 10-1 break has not timed against your own.
That's all right.
Take a second, guys.
We are masters of building dramatic tension.
the drinkinest show on Saving Throw.
Well, it's
Hit us
Saturday
in the ass
night.
again.
Gallon of bourbon. Brought to you by Gallon of Bourbon.
Hey, everybody, I'm Gallon of Bourbon.
Why won't you listen to me, Dad?
Look at now, Dad.
Speaking of weird anthropomorphized beverage mascots, have you all seen the Tiny Sweet ads for Diet Dr. Pepper on YouTube?
No.
Okay. It's a little guy who I think in a casting breakdown would be called ethnically ambiguous.
Okay.
But he's wearing a sort of purple-red wig kind of akin to Prince, and he's tiny. He's probably about this tall in real life. And he kind of sings like this, and he's constantly offering people a Diet Dr. Pepper, the sweet one. I'm pretty sure this really happened. I don't think I imagined it, but it is a thing that reminded me of Gallon of Bourbon for some reason.
Fair enough.
Yeah, thanks for listening.
Josh, Fat Black Dude says he likes your mustache.
Thank you. What's his name? Fat
Fat
Black?
Black Dude.
Okay, I was like, all right. Thank you, Fat Black.
I'm
Dude,
not being
appreciate that.
outrageously racist.
I mean, I know there's not like avatars quite like that on Twitch. It's like, I'm not really sure how you.
You make it that.
Well, thank you, Fat Black Guy. I
Did I
like
see you actually have some special wax for it?
Yes, I do have mustache wax. It's like I waxed it last night, and it's starting to like I'm getting tendrils here. It
Yeah.
Depending on like how long I let it grow out and how I groom it, I can actually have multiple mustaches.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Like I'm at the stage where I could have 2 curls on each end, which is like super evil, right?
That's at least
I
4
think-
times as evil as the normal kind.
Yeah, your
That's
evil
true.
is definitely like exponentially increased by the amount of mustaches you have. If you have a pair of mustaches,
I would say eyebrows are the same way, much like David Bowie as Jareth the Goblin King had 2 sets of
Giant.
eyebrows.
that's true. But also, if you have one eyebrow,
Yeah.
also evil.
Yeah.
Or Helga Pataki.
Yeah.
Basically, what I'm saying is, if you don't have 2 eyebrows, you're garbage, people.
Count Olaf has 1.
It's a spectacular eyebrow,
One
though.
marvelous eyebrow. It's like a mustache for his head.
I am just a friend Stefano, just chasing on children.
My name is not anything but Stefano. Also from Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Really?
Yeah, he went to the rich kids' high school.
Really?
Yeah, La Cueva.
NPH is pretty solid.
Yeah, he knows.
He does good work.
Wolfman, you were going to say something?
Oh, I'm sure I was, but I had forgotten what it was.
Great!
How's chat doing? You guys having a good time?
They're I think they're enjoying themselves.
We're
amused.
we're careening from one thing to another, but you know,
yeah,
it's all right.
kind of an action-packed special episode.
I'm still shook from that conversation, Tyler. I'm shook.
I kind of like how we really got down to business right when Mac left. Up until then it was Godzilla and Power Rangers, and then it was like, drama.
Yeah, well, I think that
And now it's
conversation
Dr. Pepper.
needed to happen. I'm curious to see how the characters spiral off in season 2,
Yes.
because everybody's gonna have a lot of all the characters that we leave heading into season 2 have a lot going on.
I've heard some things
Yeah.
that may or may not be true, and I can tell you that my guy for season 2 is kind of a departure from Ink.
Yeah.
He's spoiler alert for season 2, my guy's name is going to be Vigil, and he is a devoted, and that's all I'm going to say right now.
Nice.
Is that a Giant Monsters All Out Attack?
I'm thinking
Final Godzilla.
I'll pick Bitter
Uh-huh.
and be a character that was just in the background, but that we've interacted with before. So he's seen a bit of our
Yeah.
adventures, and that might be one of the reasons why he's been reincarnated.
Well, technically, Sax said that Vigil appeared at one point in one of our other
true,
adventures,
yeah.
so I don't know, we'll see.
First movie on a strain of records. Like whenever, because they're all like Highlander, they assume the first movie is nothing else. So I kind of like
Oh yeah,
that.
candy.
I kind
That's
of
not a
like
bad idea.
Some candy?
whatever
Yeah,
they-
I always want
I
candy.
need savory now, I don't
It's a
need
problem.
I'm with you. I'm kind of with you on that too, but candy is here.
sweet. No, I get it. Believe me, it's very hard for me to say no to Kit Kats and Reese's
This
peanut
is
butter cups.
like the
but-
dancing candy portion of the show. It's
Let's
like,
all go to the
lobby.
lobby. Let's
You ever
all
seen
go to
the
the
critic episode where? Hold on, I'll put my mic on for this.
I've seen them all, but which
There's a
one are you
critic episode
referencing?
where he goes to the movie theater and it's like one of those opening cartoons, and the projector sucks in a piece of film and
Yes.
runs it, and then a small piece of film runs and goes like, "Daddy, Daddy," and then it just goes into the film. It's just like the critic was one of my favorite cartoons of all
That was a
time.
good
Absolutely.
There's that one where they look at the hospital that Duke built, and there's the like animatronic Duke going like, "Duke is life,"
Yeah.
and then a pigeon like flies into its mouth and it like chomps it up, and he goes and he cuts back to Duke who's watching with him, and he goes like, "For some reason, pigeons are attracted to the sound of my," and a pigeon flies into his mouth and he chews it up, the sound of my voice. And it's just like that fucking show.
Sax, my
Does it fall off? Or fall down?
No, well, now you're good. I think you started talking before you put your mic on.
Oh, there we go. Okay. So the final, eventually after a distance. Well, you have some time. If you need to have any more conversation, please do.
Actually, I haven't had a sip of this, so.
Go ahead.
I'm not going to lie to you. I'm worried about what we're going to find down there.
That's why we're going.
Yeah.
At this point, I'm worried about literally everything we're going to find. We've been on the path to ruin for so long. I've just decided that if we're all going to hell, I might as well be the first person on that train.
Second.
The shallow, long, sort of almost like deck of a ship shaped form of the fragments of the first crucible eventually, in the very dim light below you, makes itself apparent. And it's clear that the Whisperer was right. Like, with very little effort on your own part, you're going to essentially land on it. And you can sort of exert enough will. We don't need to do any spreads for that, but you can sort of exert enough will to push yourself over it. But you're still going to hit it like at terminal velocity. So this is another defense spread, defense 10.
I can do that because I got untouchable, and then there we go.
And I'm defending against an impact.
Yeah.
No, okay.
So you like land gracefully, but in the process of landing, the Whisperer mask like comes loose from your pocket, and it and a bunch of the debris land in one place, and it forms like a debris shape of the Whisperer with the Whisperer mask where its face would be, but it's clearly inanimate. It's just like a strange manifestation thereof. It's like a statue, a ghost of it.
Okay.
And the monster actually like falls nearby it, and debris there forms like the shape of like a coiled like Blanca getting ready to attack in Street Fighter. But again, it's completely inanimate. It's just stonework. It's a debris construct like the reality whales were.
Okay.
What you got?
Just do defense of 6.
All right, take 2 wounds.
Yeah.
So you boom hit the ground.
I think I only get 1 spark back, but Ink also gets a spark back.
Hey, thanks.
All right, so you this is much more literal a obstacle course than any crucible you've seen in your journeys. There are like training areas, like an attack dummy, or like an area where you would like jump up and down, like one of those like rotating things with like whatever.
Is there a weapons rack handy?
There is a weapons rack.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, okay.
Early design weapons rack.
Sure.
But there are all these things that are like around, and then near them is imagine it as like aircraft carrier shaped in terms of like the physicality of it.
Yeah.
And there's like 5 or 6 of these stations, and then one either final or otherwise it might have been a checkpoint, it might have been the end, whatever, station on the far side from where you land. And each one of the like training areas has like a crystal pedestal covered now in like filth and dust that stands directly near it. And so like the first one is like a wooden version of like a tackling dummy standing alone, and it's not far from you.
Okay. Shall we move forward?
Yeah, let's find out what this place has to find and has to offer.
So yeah, let's attack that dummy.
Well, there's the dummy and there's the crystal pedestal.
Crystal pedestal seems more promising.
Yeah, definitely. Dust
Okay.
it off, zhuzh it up a little bit.
As you contact it, like a sort of almost hologram, but like magical construct sort of spins out from it. Now, those of you who were watching...
only hope.
Buckaroo Banzai.
Those of you who are watching from last week recognize this is Ether, who is the last of the first Phoenixes who they met.
Ooh.
But you don't know who this is.
Sure.
When he goes, "Hello, new Phoenix.
Sorry.
This is your crucible. We've designed it with magics as strong as we can to prepare you for the battle ahead. Our people are currently under siege, but our magics have spared you your mortal death and will return you to this world more powerful than you have ever been before. Use the lives we grant you to fight for our people. Each of these lessons will carry forward with you into your next abilities and powers. I will be here along the way to guide your training, but we have created magics that will change this crucible to reflect the needs of each passing Phoenix. Perhaps my form is different. What am I? Am I your father or a person from your history? Perhaps I'm a simple construct. We'll never know. This is built for you, Phoenix. What is your cognation or name? Tell it to me now."
All I can think is Hall of Presidents.
It does feel like that.
Yeah.
Welcome to
Like
the
a weird,
Crucible. I'm Abraham Lincoln.
Like a Fallout vibe. I was expecting it to start like
Yeah.
skipping and like jumping around the recording.
I am your man.
I am Ink, and this is Atmos, and you are long dead.
Ink, Atmos, use your newfound skills to attack this dummy. When you return to the daylit realm, you will need these skills to fight off our attackers. Remember, other nations covet our resources. You are the great weapon in our defense.
All right. Well, shall we?
Yep.
Okay.
Let's blow it up.
Make an attack spread.
All right. I'm gonna go first, if you don't mind.
Well, I mean, if I make successful attack,
Here, do it.
then your next attack will be brutal.
Do you?
And this dummy looks very dangerous. So I want to put on as much damage as possible.
Sure.
All right, so that's going to be
Oh, wait, actually, for in combat.
7, 12,
I'm good.
14. So that is 14 on this dummy.
All right, what kind of attack are you doing to it?
I am just gonna throw my hammer at it. Just do like a
Okay.
nice like Olympic spin and just release and just imbue my hammer with a little bit of fire, just enough to really scorch this dummy, and then just detonate it.
All right. You see the arcane mechanics like in your understanding of magics that would like have forced this to reconstitute itself, but this isn't the crucible. This is like a specter thereof. So you blow the dummy up and the pieces just like float into the void, and as soon as they get far enough away from like where this crucible sort of atmosphere is, they like fall into the space. And the like spectral image of Ether comes back around. Good job, Phoenix. You'll need these powers to defeat our enemies. Pass forward to learn more from your crucible, or perhaps backwards. These will all be changed based on your individual needs.
This is a
Is there a
joke.
survey after this?
This is a joke.
I'm starting to see where you're coming from. I don't know what this is, but this is not the Phoenix Order I
Let's move forward.
am from.
But not literally, but yeah. So let's move on to another station.
Where else can we go? Is it just it's a series of stations basically?
They're all
Like-
basically stations, and they all have like similar sort of like tests of physical strength or whatever. You get the impression that this preceded the schools. Like it's all very
so it's just
general.
kind of a raw power kind of thing. Yeah. Okay.
It's basically
the
like
very first Phoenixes as after the Order was born. But now my question is, well, my many questions revolve around how was the Phoenix Order formed by who and to what
hope
end, and
that-
using what energy.
I hope that if we reach the end of this, we'll find some smattering of an answer for that. If not, I might know a place we can go.
There's no longer any real reason to like stay at any one of these challenges. Like whatever
I'll
magic
get
might
this
have-
one.
Flax.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You get to the final end of it, and there's like this section there, and there's like a tablet sort of set against like a different pillar, and as you arrive, like the construct appears. Good job. We've created these magics to teach you what is necessary to continue the fight against the oppressors who would destroy our nation. We've created a system that will protect you even in death, bringing you back stronger every time. We know that these measures may themselves not be sufficient to protect our nation, but as great patriots for our people, we have instilled you with the ability to adjust your crucibles and the crucibles of those going forward to create the world that you need to...
Wait,
It doesn't actually wait, but what are you going to say?
who are your oppressors?
It doesn't answer.
I thought it might be.
We just need to dig deeper. This echo
That
has
tablet.
nothing for
Yeah.
us.
That tablet.
This tablet should explain to you how you can exert your influence on the crucibles going forward.
Thank you, ghosts. May you rest in peace. Yeah, sick burn. Yeah, I'm gonna check out the tablet.
It is like boring metaphysical instructions. It is the handbook for the recently deceased. It is
It's like stereo instructions.
Yeah.
it's boring
You see,
metaphysical
a
instructions.
stereo is, well, I'll explain what a stereo is later.
If you still worked in magic the way that they did then, it allows you to sort of like adjust the construct of the crucible system to reflect like absolute needs. It essentially seems like this tablet might be the template by which you can build schools. Like we need phoenixes to be fast now is a thing you could kind of instill.
Just a bunch of drop downs.
All right. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
Well, now I am.
Just mind your business. Mind your business.
Simmer down now.
But it basically explains like how the Phoenix system works. It is not like there's no holy writ attached to it. It is essentially a mechanism. So it has specific instructions, which this tablet explains how to like change the targeting. If you again, you don't really understand how to manipulate these factors. It involves a magic style that has probably been out of play for 100 generations. But if you were that kind of sorcerer, you could reach into this construct and change the targeting. So like, as opposed to like, the most noble deaths ever, it could be like, the person who died with the biggest feet. You know, like, it's like you could change again, what I love about Phoenix Dawn Command is that somehow Keith Baker has basically forced magic to follow the same realm as like C++ code. Like you can change what it references, and you can change what it teaches, and you can change what the output, like you can change the conditions with this magic if you could cast it, that would would constitute winning the crucible. Like everything in here is essentially mutable by a group of marshals who know how to do it.
There was a great military leader in a world I can't describe. They had ships that traversed the voids between worlds. There was a test given to their military leaders that taught them the importance of acceptable loss.
I know where you're going with this, and I hate it.
I'm stopping right
No,
there.
you're fine.
No, I'm stopping.
No,
right
no,
there.
you have to say the name of the test
No
now.
way.
You have to say the name of the test.
This
What was the name of the test?
this great military leader found a way to subvert the rules of the test and win it. And that was called... I forget. Sorry.
You tease.
You're a monster.
Tit.
Boo.
So essentially, and again, you don't currently understand the
This
skill set.
tablet means nothing to me as it is written. There's nothing I can do with it. However, if we take it back with us, this might turn the tide of battle.
I mean, it seems to be one of the oldest remnants of the formation of the Phoenix Order. We can't afford not to take it with us.
You feel like this skill set or like this understanding of the Phoenixes is lost on the current marshals.
Okay.
You may not feel that. Well, yeah, you understand the arcane and you've been sort of studying this for a while.
Yeah.
But you also don't necessarily know that like the magics that it talks about, maybe Ember has the skills necessary to like get in there and tweak the code essentially. But you don't know that you've ever seen him do anything like this describes. This is essentially a lost art form. Again, this is sort of like you in a world of like intelligent machines have found the rules for changing AI, but nobody has ever cracked open a fucking like laptop before.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
you know, like robots exist, but you don't know how they come to exist or why.
Well, they make themselves.
Right, and
So,
the robots, like all life, replicate themselves, and
Yeah.
this is like an explanation of how to change machine code that makes no sense in the context that you can look at it, but that's essentially what's happening. So,
So I clutch the tablet close to me and I look at Atmos and I say, I want you to know, all I want is for an end to conflict. If this is an endless cycle, then what is the point of anything we do? Would you rather see countless generations of our descendants continue to struggle the way that you and I have in our short time on this world? Would you?
You don't strike me as an idealist, but for someone to think that there could be an end to conflict, you think that's a possibility?
I do.
In what world? Maybe here where there's nothing. Just memories floating around in a void. But in the real world where people have wants and needs and desires, there'll never be an end to conflict. What do you propose to do?
I don't know exactly yet. But I need you to know that my intentions are noble.
Oh, I know they are, and that's what scares me the most.
Understood.
That's why I'm walking this road with you. Because I don't totally trust you. And I don't think you totally trust me. And that's why we should probably stick together.
All right. Fair enough.
I don't come at this because I like you. I come at this because I think this is necessary for the Phoenixes and potentially everyone else in the daylight.
If it makes you feel any better, I don't like me either.
Well, I think that's pretty well established.
so you know how you well, I should point out there are two ways this can end.
I'm not leaving him here.
Well, no, you don't have to. Nor can you actually. Like
Okay.
you'll trigger him back. But you can burn out deliberately, which basically you can like force yourself to go Nova by spending all your sparks, which counts as a death. But you're also only 2 wounds away. Like, if you didn't want to do that for any reason, and I honestly don't know why you wouldn't want to do that, but if you didn't want to do that for any reason, you could have Ink finish you. Like, Ink could kill you off.
That's weird.
That's
Yeah.
real weird. I'm
that's super awkward.
All right, then burn it out.
Monster, Whisperer, we're taking you back to the daylight world. Because we have knowledge, we have fear, and we have the power to rewrite everything.
So you, like, deliberately force all your sparks into an action, and it causes you to basically become a explosion of raw dawn energy, and you blast out. which takes the whole island with you. You are heading towards your crucible. Oh, I can't read that because your keyboard is still up.
Donation for Dr. Pepper.
And mustache wax via.
Buy anything, you can donate $5.
Oh,
Oh,
it's the sweet
Thank
one.
you, Fat Black Dude / Jeremy.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
thank you very much
Yeah.
for that. So
Got
you
Dr. Pepper mustache wax.
you head to your
We've been
crucible.
for a while. I had my Dr. Pepper like in the first
No, I
hour.
think, was it talking about the Dr. Well, it doesn't matter.
Something.
Jeremy,
Well, thank
tell
you
us what
for
you're
the
talking about,
donation
'cause I
and
wanna
paying
understand you better.
attention.
Explain more, Jeremy. Tell us more. You head to your crucible and rank up. You feel yourself traveling towards the Imperial Flame.
okay.
But you've reached a level now that many Phoenixes can't, where you can actually reroute yourself if you want to, because you're basically like, you didn't die. He just sort of like sucked you into the flame network when he went down. You can, if you want, redirect yourself anywhere in the network you want, or try and route yourself into the dusk network and come out of the dusk somewhere in one of those areas, or even any other crazy design. In addition, you, much more than you, because you have this trait, you have this special ability that you gained through your last crucible. You're much more physically present and aware during this. You can snatch up the masks if you want to and drag them with
Oh
you.
yeah, very much so.
All right, so you're gonna arrive in your crucible. I mean, you won't really know until you're done with your crucible. But like when you arrive back in Pyre, the monster and the Whisperer are not present. So you've taken them with you. You don't necessarily know that he's taken them. He's taken them with him. Like when you meet him again, he can convincingly say like they didn't come out on his side either, and who knows. But you're deliberately like grabbing them out of the sort of flame.
Yeah.
Imagine like the Doctor Who ending. Or the Stargate travel portal. You're like yoink yoink, like taking them with you.
I prefer to think of it as the Deep Space Nine wormhole travel animation.
Ooh.
Yeah.
As long as you don't take a piece of paper and fold it in half and then put a pencil through it.
No, I'm not going to do that.
At this point, I'm just waiting for the movie that turns that conceit on its head, where someone takes the thing. We've seen the thing. We know. Oh, that. Okay, sorry. I was confused before, but I understand now wormholes because I saw you fold paper, and I was like, yeah, okay. Like
Hey,
every
I've seen
movie?
Star Trek: The Motion Picture. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Where do you want to end up?
That's a very interesting question. I would like to go to Pyre in the underneath the
Okay.
upside down, whatever the further, the dark world.
All right. So that's a spread. That is a gray spread, which you can spend sparks on, which you have a lot of. So you can probably essentially do this. But do you want to spend them all and then arrive there? That is a very high difficulty spread. And I'll tell you that if you miss it by like 5, you'll end up somewhere in an area in the dusk world. If you miss it by 10, you're going to end up somewhere in an area in the daylit world. If you miss it by 15, you'll end up at Pyre. And I'm not going to tell you what the goal is.
Fair enough. Okay. There's 14 right there.
All right. Well spent.
And how many cards can I actually do in a spread? I'm sorry, it's been a while. I feel like it's only 3, right?
A skill spread is 3,
And then,
but talents would apply.
yeah, I don't really have anything that applies. Although,
We want to hang out while Braid updates the Revlo so people can buy you redraws.
smartest person in the room. Mm-hmm. Does that count?
Yeah, I'll apply it.
Okay, so there's 19 there.
Okay.
20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's 30.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of the best I can do on its face right now.
All right, That's a lot of sparks I've required for only 2 Phoenixes. That's a large amount of sparks to have received.
Yep.
You arrive in Shade Pyre.
All right.
Meanwhile, what is your crucible like this time? And I will tell you that it is somehow different. So, your change of attitude has changed. Like, again, the magics are designed to be what you need them to be, or to be what you don't need them to be. Like, they're designed to react to what you are to get you to the final result that the weaponization protocols have been designed to be. So what changes after you change your attitude about things? And we'll level you up in the next game. So, but I'm interested in what your crucible is.
The laboratory's the same, but this time the doors, the way out that once lined the walls, they're not blocked, they're open. But when you pass through one, you just come out through another back in the laboratory.
How do you solve it?
After spending, seems like days trying to figure out if I could take apart the walls or reconstitute the portals, direct them elsewhere. It seems like the only way to reincarnate the final time is to take the whole thing down.
All right.
So I destroy my crucible.
All right. In like pure action movie style, you come out of the Imperial Flame on Pyre like sweaty and holding a hammer, and it's super sexy, guys, but also real scary. And like all the agents like, oh shit, and people like spin off in other directions. And you can see Winter, the marshal who's there, like gives you a strange look. Like is it coming to this? Like there's something strange about the system going on now. Meanwhile, you arrive, like you sort of walk out of the negative energy.
The nega flame.
Nega flame. And there's nothing here at Pyre on this side in terms of humanity. There's of course weapons racks, because why not?
Sure.
They're negative weapons racks though, because the weapons on the other side. But
they're upside down. It doesn't make any sense.
You find you have the two masks in your possession when you arrive, there's a sort of a shadowy presence there, sort of like coalesces and comes to you.
Okay.
He told me you'd be here, and she before you. I have a lesson to teach you. The same lesson that created me. These echoes, the echoes you most recently learned about, you can create them. You can cause them to exist and wait and coalesce at your will. He's used them, she's used them, and now you will. And all three of you will grow further than anyone ever thought. Come, I'll teach you. And it's sort of like, and it has the face of Omen,
Okay.
but it isn't Omen. It is Omen from years ago, waiting for you. From years before he could have known you existed.
Okay.
But the shape of the body, which sort of like appears out of it and like sort of, it's like sort of like changes, is Omen's body, is Fade's body, is your body. And it brings you into a room, and that's where we're going to end up for today.
Love it.
So, that is Phoenix Dawn Command. Next week we are off because it is OrcCon.
Right.
And myself and a number of other members of...
It's not Galley next week, is it?
it is also that.
Oh, shit.
They're at the same time.
It's going to be a busy weekend around the airport.
Yes. Is Masks up next week or not?
Well, we are missing Nicole, and if there's a convention,
Well, I mean, it's up to you. Right now, if you haven't announced, so we won't say anything more. But Phoenix Dawn Command is not going to be next week because I never get to play anymore. So I'm going to a convention to play D&D for 2 whole days. But I also know that we have events going on there, all of which are probably on our social media. You can check those out. But a week...
running a game.
Okay. Okay. So there's all kinds of great games run by us or involving us at OrcCon, or whichever one it is now. Is it OrcCon?
Strategicon?
It's Archon.
It's OrcCon this day. Yeah. Strategicon is the family of cons that happens 4 times a year here in LA. Highly recommend you check those out. 2 weeks from today is the finale of Season 1, wherein these newest incarnations of Ink, Atmos, Eerie, and Varia are going to go up against the Hectarch to who knows what response. And then we're going to be dark for a little while. I don't know how long, whilst we change up how Saturdays go here on Saving Throw Show. I don't yet want to announce the interesting, cool twists we have for Season 2, but when we return with Season 2, I guarantee you're going to like it. It's going to be really, really cool. We have some cool ideas. And remember, between now and Season 2, we're still going to do our Patreon promotion, wherein if you are a Patreon backer, you can collaborate with Keith Baker and myself and some other key peoples to making a wing of Phoenixes that will feature in Season 2.
What were the bad guys in the Revenge of the Nerds? Yeah, it's that wing.
Alpha House?
The Alpha Wing.
Alpha Wing.
Yeah.
Robot House.
And Robot House! With all kinds of great stuff, of course, happening all week here on Saving Throw Show. You can, and also on Happy Jack's RPG show, wherein Mac is on tomorrow for their Vampire the Masquerade show. There's all kinds of great stuff. What's the latest news? I was working and unable to watch Masked. What exciting shiz is happening in Masks or next week?
We are 4 sessions away from our season finale.
All right.
Let's see. Swole has discovered that his whole life has basically been a farce, and he was superhuman to begin with, and then they fucked with him. Kid Stardust has had a bit of a reconciliation with her sister, but has come to find out that the scientist who created the bomb that created Kid Stardust is using her as blackmail, basically, and is threatening to kill her. Chaosalot is Chaosalot, and he's
gonna have a weird reunite thing with their dad. So.
kind of a confused young man. And then for Buckshot, he's having a weird fallout with his family because you come to find out that his mom is the reason that Swole is the way he is.
In case you're wondering, Stephen Pope, amazing writer, and that show's great. Check that out. Also, I am a huge fan of our show Misadventures, which is every other Wednesday, perhaps occasionally happening more frequently. News soon.
Good.
Blythe, who is AXY Blythe of Geek and Sundry fame,
that's cute.
and Mac, and everyone involved with that, Talene, is so good. It's a great show. It's and I will tell you, as someone who has now been working in this professional space for a while, you don't see, even while the world of like girls who game is growing every day at say conventions and gaming stores, in the outfacing sort of public space, like doing shows like we do, still too few women, and we have a whole show of them. And way too few women DMs.
Yes.
And I'm looking forward to a world in which we can have more of them. Well, I think we might soon. And but Talene is currently one of probably less than 20 public-facing women DMs in the world, and so good.
Also,
yeah.
Good on Saving Throw for fucking bringing Harry Potter to the
holy
Twitch
shit.
streams, right?
Yeah, that's fair.
Just saying.
Lots of cool shit going on here. Enjoy that. Enjoy everything else that is going on in the geek space, because right now in these troubling times, community is what we've got. So
and do not discount things that give you comfort.
Yep, lean into your geekdom, folks, and we will help you with it here.
Yeah.
Josh, other than enjoying some buildings, what else can they enjoy of yours? That,
Those things you walk in, that's all.
I mean, I used to play a lot more video games. If there's any interest, you guys can feel free to contact me at High Def Ninja. Should be somewhere visible. And I'd be happy to, if you guys just want to stream a game here and there on PS4. Entertain some of you folks if there aren't other shows happening. So, yeah, I mean, that's like the most immediate, low-key way to do it. Otherwise, I'm going to try to accept one of your invitations.
For Geek and Sundry stuff. I am so happy that we added you to the show that I'm going to try very hard to add you to more shows here and on Geek and Sundry, and I'm sure there's some places on Hyper RPG and Happy Jacks. Cool. Like, the world needs more Josh Dempster. Stealth Jew.
Thank you, guys.
We
need more stealth Jews.
Yep.
That's what it comes down to.
Oh,
so,
I just realized we now have 3 Jews on Saving Throw.
Ooh.
Oh, wow. We're taking over.
Yeah. Turns out we may not control Hollywood, but in 10 more years of this, we'll control Saving Throw. Mike, what about you?
Gonna bring it down for a little bit. The past few months have been very challenging for me in my personal life. There's been some upheavals in professional opportunities and stuff, and I am kind of trying to walk back from that. So I am just kind of opening myself up to the cosmos right now and maintaining positivity. And based on a viewing of the Oscar-nominated Monster Calls, which I highly recommend, I am going back to visit my parents for a few days next week.
Nice.
So if I could give you some words of wisdom, they would be these. Take care, be well, do good, and safe home.
I will also say this with absolute clarity and 100% belief. You are destined to do something useful in this geek space. I'm not entirely sure you found it 100% yet. You're definitely much closer here on Saving Throw Show than any other place.
Sure.
But, like, there's going to be a thing. It's going to be a geek thing, and Michael Holmes is going to be that thing.
Your lips to someone's ears, my friend.
So watch out for that. I obviously am doing all the work all the time on Geek and Sundry, keeping those 30 hours and 18 shows worth of content alive. We have a lot of great stuff over there, but I don't need to tell you that. People already know. Was it Critical Role? Has you seen it? I will say, though, that the most recent episode of Critical Role, which is probably going to have a rebroadcast sometime in the next few hours, is really a great sort of like...
I saw some of the tweets.
Oh,
Nobody
yeah.
gave anything away, but I was like, oh, okay.
It's a piece de resistance of roleplay. Highly worth it. The Critical Role cast is a great example of how to run a show in terms of being in character, driving force, but still maintaining a cogent story. Mm-hmm. You can't really do pure RPG on streams.
No.
It has to be. It's TV. You're doing
Yeah.
TV,
Yeah,
so it has to on some level be like it has to be like you have to sort of like reach out and hug it and push it into the thing. Obviously, Matt Mercer is amazing at
Reaching
keeping
out and hugging and pushing into the thing.
All right,
Sorry.
fuck off. Grassy.
Hashtag my ship.
Whisper aggressive.
Grassy.
Also handsome. I mean, let's
yes.
just say it.
You're ungodly handsome.
Yeah.
Too many skills, one body, Matt Mercer. You're violating the trust we had in you. We all expected you to have human limitations, and you keep exceeding them.
Get fat, Matt Mercer.
Never gonna happen.
He'd still be fine.
Yeah.
He's the voice of every dude in every video.
Yeah,
He's
right?
like,
I honestly, as someone who works with him, I probably should not advocate anyone use the hashtag #GetFatMattMercer. But I would definitely enjoy watching him see it for the first time and go, all right. Why?
Oh, okay. Well, sure, why not?
I mean, he's not going to get fat, but like, I do like the idea that he would be out of context be like, but why? Who? I don't understand what's going on. Stephen Pope, who we can't hear, is there anything we should plug?
Plug?
Other than your show, which we already did.
Yes. I'll be running a Dungeon World. Oh, cool. There's Mike. Everyone, sorry you have to hear this voice. I will be running a game at OrcCon on Friday. I'll be running Dungeon World. Should be fun. If you remember Dark Sun, it's that system. Mm-hmm. Also, I've been writing for Geek and Sundry recently, and also my blog Skip a Turn. Also, watch Riverdale. It's the best worst thing. It's so amazingly bad.
Wolfman?
okay.
Wolfman?
That's fair.
You're hearing the dulcet tones of Wolfman Dave, frequenter of Bar 1 in North Hollywood's Starving Artist Night, which happens every first Sunday of the month.
You're not starving. I can see you, Wolfman.
He's starving in his soul.
You bitch!
They can't see you. I had to.
Get fat, Joshua Dempster.
Candy.
Hashtag get fat.
Eat candy, Joshua Dempster. You'll also find my Instagram has been posted into the chat. DM me if you have any bottle caps to kick my way. That is all. Thank you.
Send the man bottle caps. All right, so that was our Voices You Can't See plug segment.
That was our ghost plug section.
Yeah, that was the Ghosts of Saving Throw plug
But
segment.
whatever you do, don't Google ghost plugs at work.
It's not a good
Don't do it.
Enjoy your time, everyone. We'll see you in 2 weeks on Phoenix Dawn Command, and then for another break after that. I'm looking forward to Max sending me her plugs for the week that are apparently not safe for the show. That's going to be a good time for me. You can't have any. Get fat, chat. Have a good time. Boom! Take it out. Bye.